right, good evening, everyone. I'm Wild9. I am your stream operators for tonight. We have three great Hero Series matches for you, and I have two wonderful casters with me that will take you through all of the match and the action today, Geranium Battle and Mojo Pal. So go ahead and take it away, guys.
Hey, yeah, having a great night tonight. Spectating one of my team's matches, but just in general, a nice little selection of some hero matches tonight. And then also the match between Corden and Sunday. How are you doing, Mojo?
I'm doing good. I'm excited to get into these games. This first one especially.
Yeah, the first one is going to be between Judo Chop and Saku, who are both in the 5 seed of two teams, Snakes on a Campaign and MAAST, respectively.
Yeah, this is sort of the 50 PR showdown of Hero Series, and I'm excited for it. It could be a big win for MAAST. They sort of need it, but for your team, Snakes on a Campaign, a win here would pretty much seal the deal.
Yeah, it would seal up the week to have a win here for my team. So I'm going to try to be as impartial as I possibly can. But I do want Judo Chop to bring it home. Now the classes though are actually quite interesting for the two teams. We see in most of THL we see a lot of people bringing both Shaman and Warlock tied together at the hip, but we actually see from Saku no Warlock, Hunter, Paladin, Priest, Shaman. How do you feel about that?
Well, it seems to me like a pretty clearly aggressive lineup, and I think if you're bringing like Hunter and Paladin and things like that, your Shaman's more likely to be aggressive too, probably a Doomhammer variant or something like that. So I like it. I think it's a great strategy, especially in the 5 seed.
Yeah, we'll have to see if it can sort of pay off and um, tackle the Warlock from Judo Chop, because this is going to be LHS last hero standing. So if Judo has a sufficient anti-aggro plan going on with his decks, and he's able to stop the aggro advances, he's going to win and win and win. And it's up to the opponents who actually beat him, force him off of his winning deck.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think decent anti-aggro plans can happen in some of these classes. Fell Demon Hunter, Quest Shaman, Quest Warlock, things like this can be decently anti-aggro, but that Hunter, I'm imagining a bit of a face hunter mirror.
Yeah, I mean, with Last Hero Standing, we don't have to see every single class win. It is just that each of the opponent's classes have to lose. So maybe the Hunter will never come out in the first place.
True.
But yeah, Fell Demon Hunter has just so much healing that it's going to be an uphill battle for aggressive decks to get past that.
Yeah, and I believe our players are currently having a bit of a friends list challenge bug, so we're gonna probably just talk through the series here for a second. These two teams are actually tied at 26 points coming into this week, so this is a pretty big one for your team, right?
Yeah, and 26 points is actually the second lowest right now. It is very the hero pack of teams is actually very condensed right now. There's the top team was at 36 going into the week, and then the bottom team was at 24 going into the week. So very little wiggle room, honestly, between the two ends. But 26, there were 3 teams tied for that. We're having 2 of those teams right now face off, and it's if one of the teams can get a very big week, then suddenly they're right up at the head of the pack again.
Yeah, early wins are always really important in the playoff race, and especially when so many teams are so close. Like I see, even just on this list right here, all the teams are pretty close to 26 points. So a breakaway win could be huge here. I believe we're getting the bans in right now. Saku has banned Judo Chop's Shaman.
Yeah, and I may be on the team with Judo Chop, so I may sort of have an idea of what Judo Chop will be banning. I believe he's also going to be banning Shaman, but haven't yet gotten complete word on that. It's very interesting to have the Shaman banned from Saku. That means Saku is confident he can beat that Warlock.
Yeah, it kind of makes sense. Shaman, especially Quest Shaman, is such strong anti-aggro. Just the card Perpetual Flame really hoses like most of the decks that Saku has presumably brought. So I don't mind the Shaman ban.
Yeah, and with Warlock, we actually see. Well, I look at HS replay stats quite a bit, and Warlock actually seems pretty even into a lot of the more aggressive decks. We see Priest very slightly edged towards Warlock, Hunter another very slight edge against aggressive Shaman, Doomhammer Shaman. It is essentially 50-50. Now, that might mean, though, that Judo Chop is going to bring some interesting techs in the Warlock, like Spiced Bread Baker is a very good anti-aggro card.
Yeah, Spice Bread Baker's really been making the rounds. It's put in a fair amount of decks. I even have it in most of my mage lists nowadays. So it's a great anti-aggro tech. And those even matchups sort of make sense for the Warlock, right? This is a deck that typically puts itself down to like 2018 health just by itself. So it doesn't need much more from something like a Priest, a Void Touch Attendant, to get over the line.
Yeah, the Warlock especially really loves to find different ways, all of its different ways to gain life against these aggressive decks. But then it's just whether the pressure can do it, because the Bristlebacks from the Warlock need to be activated once the Warlock is down to 10 cards, and the ways that they get down to those 10 cards is by tapping, losing life, and backfiring, losing life. So if the aggressive deck just happens to find that Warlock without its Soul Rend to clear off the entire board, then the Warlock has very little chance.
Yeah, but when they do have that Soul Rend, it can be such a game-ending card. I mean, not only does it get you closer to 10 cards in your deck, it also just clears almost every non-Paladin board. It clears every Priest board I can think of. I think Priest runs one minion that does not die to Soul Rend, and that's the worst minion in their deck, Dark Bishop Benedictus. So
Yeah, sometimes Priest can buff up their minions a little bit. I know that there's, I think the Cult Huron Chaplain can add 2 health to a minion, or they can use the Og Merchant to give a minion Divine Shield. But yeah, you're completely right. Like, it's almost nothing survives it, and then what scraps remain are not going to do anything.
yeah, and it doesn't match up quite as well, I think, into the Paladin compared to some of the other decks, but a lot of people haven't been playing Paladin. It actually seems more prevalent in the 5 seed, but tell me, which version of Paladin do you think we're seeing tonight?
Oh wow. So yeah, there are 3 sort of different versions of Paladin. There's more of a hand buff Paladin. There's a secret Paladin that cuts out the jewel kit that buffs your entire hand, and instead adds that secret weapon, adds the secret package in to draw lots of cards. And then the third type is more of an aggro Paladin that seems to take some stealth minions that are harder to remove, and then uses those alongside the buffs in order to deal some massive damage. Looking at the different win rates that he could go with, I mean, they're very similar. It is favored for the Paladin, but it seems like the most popular form of Paladin, though, is still that hand buff Paladin, just the one that the most people are playing. So that's probably what I'm going to say, since all of them are favored.
Yeah, and Secret Paladin's a deck that hasn't really changed much even since the nerfs, right? It got hit with Battlegrounds Battlemaster and Conviction nerfs. Still, a lot of the time runs both of those cards, and is still a powerful force in the meta. A really strong deck, and I'm a little sad that Libram Paladin was not mentioned, but alas, it's not really a deck.
Yeah, I mean, Libram Paladin is very, very good. We see it even used in the highly competitive, the Master Tour this weekend. We had, I believe, 6 different Libram Paladins. One of the Libram Paladins made it to top 16. It's still up there. It's one of the archetypes that you can keep an eye on, but it's just not going to be found in the 5 seeds, I don't think.
Yeah, it does exist, but it probably doesn't exist in a lineup that also has Hunter, Priest, and Shaman. I believe we have our second ban confirmed as well, as Judo Chop has banned Saku's Shaman, so a double Shaman ban for tonight.
That is what I thought would happen. It was a little bit scary that it took so long to happen, but at least we're there now. Yeah, the Shaman, if it's a Doomhammer Shaman, can just have some very, very explosive turns with 16 damage, sometimes 22 damage going at the face.
Yeah, with the rise of Quest Shaman, a lot of people have sort of dropped off the Doomhammer Shaman hype train, but it does still sometimes just kill people from incredibly high health totals with more consistency than a lot of other decks. Cage Match Custodian is still a great card.
Yes, especially. So that means Saku has the Hunter, Paladin, and Priest that he could possibly start with, whereas Judo Chop has Demon Hunter, Warlock. I feel like Judo Chop probably, isn't going to bring the Hunter to start with, but honestly, Saku's Paladin, since it looks pretty good into that Warlock, you think we're going to see that to start, or?
Yeah, I wouldn't mind a Paladin start. In Last Hero Standing, your queue order matters much more than in Conquest, and it's something that really should be taken into account. It's the classic sort of Conquest argument as to whether or not it matters, but in Last Hero Standing, it absolutely matters, and I think getting wins with the Paladin right away would be really good for him.
Yeah, especially if it can sort of convert to a sweep.
Mm-hmm.
The Paladin seems to be favored most of the way, but I mean, with coin flips, we've been seeing a lot of games go by way of just what cards are drawn in the matchup. So even though the Paladin is a little bit favored, there is definitely many different ways that this match can go, and I'm very excited to get into this one.
Yeah, me too. There are cards like that in a lot of the classes and a lot of these decks. I don't know what kind of Demon Hunter Judo is running, but Brutes in the now renamed Brute Demon Hunter, right? Typically sort of end game, Soul Rend and Warlock, Mindrender Lucia in Priest, right? There are these cards that sort of have these polarizing effects, as I believe we're getting into game.
Yes, good thing that the friends bug is not bugging us right now. We are going to start with Judo Chop on the bottom here, and he is still loading in, of course.
Yeah, I have just loaded in. We are seeing Judo Chop on the Demon Hunter against Saku on the Hunter, the regular Hunter.
And we see already that it's not Fel Demon Hunter. At least it doesn't look like it, since there's Illidari Inquisitor and Tusk Piercer in Judo Chop's hand. It's also an immediate full keep from him, which surprises me just based on how late the Illidari Inquisitor comes out. It would sort of lock the Skull of Gul'dan in the middle.
Yeah, I agree. I'm not sure about the Illidari Inquisitor keep. Obviously, Skull close to the left was a great keep. Tusk Piercer also a great keep, but I'm worried he might not be able to get on board fast enough to really match the Hunter, who Saku's starting here with things like this Wolpertinger.
Yeah, so Death Rattle Demon Hunter is a little. I mean, it's more of a coin flip into this, but I think with Saku's explosive start here, it's going to be a little bit more of an uphill battle. And yeah, no plays coming out on turn 2 either. Would have liked to have seen the attack first in case the 2-drop is drawn, but
yeah, it didn't end up mattering, but I completely agree. And this skull is so unfortunate. That's going to be 2 skulls now locked in hand by the left hand Illidari Inquisitor. So not what you wanted to see. You would have maybe hoped to get the others a top deck later in the game when it was more playable. A Devouring Ectoplasm comes into hand for Saku, an interesting Face Hunter inclusion.
Yeah, just looking to be more resilient, I guess, against the possible board clears. If you have a 2/2 that lives after the Soul Rend, then you can start dealing your 2 damage again. It's so unfortunate that Saku has an entire hand of playable cards, and meanwhile, because of the Skull keep, from Judo. It's as if Judo's only has 2 or maybe even 3 playable cards in his hand of 6.
Yeah, but you have to say those 2 or 3 cards so far has been pretty good. Fell Rattler, really good on that turn, completely clearing up the board, and Renowned Performer coming down on the next turn can really sort of shut down Hunters if it gets good trades. The Warsong Wrangler, not a great trade for it, as I imagine Trampling Rhino will be picked up here, but these are some interesting beast inclusions by Saku.
Yeah, one thing that us as casters we're going to be maybe a little bit scared by is that encumbered pack mule, because that can cause a friend casting bug. But luckily, picking the Rhino as he probably should have, this Renowned Performers doesn't look that great into the 3/4. Probably going to see Persistent Peddler instead. But with the Trampling Rhino threat looming soon, Renowned Performer kind of looks worse and worse. The 1/1 taunts that stick around after.
Yeah, the longer you go without playing it in this matchup, definitely the worse it gets. I'll say that if Saku draws the Pack Mule, I am confident he will play the non-bugged one, because he's a stream op himself, and he understands the struggle, hopefully. But I think we agree. The Persistent Peddler came down. It's funny to me, after watching Masters Tour all today, to see a Persistent Peddler actually played and not just traded.
Yeah, with so many people trying to just draw and complete their quest, actually seeing the Death Rattle come out for the Persistent Peddler, I believe, will be very, very cool. A I-Beam as well from Judo Chop. Something that I usually don't see from Death Rattle lists, but getting the life gain is going to be good to get into aggressive classes here.
Yeah, I think it's absolutely a tech inclusion that you maybe should put in this exact matchup and in these deck matchups. I think it probably can put in a lot of mileage, especially right here at this Burly Adventurer, as it is. I had to hover over it to find out the name, but this Burly Adventurer will die pretty quickly to the Renowned Performer. The Persistent Peddler probably should be trading in, as it is, and board control belongs to Judo.
Yes, luckily for Judo, the weapon alongside the Trampling Rhino can't actually be used to have the Trampling Rhino attack twice, just because everything Judo has after the first Rhino attack will have 1 health, so the weapon will kill it before the Rhino gets to attack in as well. But man, the weapon here, if that just attacks and kills the 3/1, Trampling Rhino attacks and kills one of the 1/1s and starts clocking face for so much damage, it's not looking like it's going to be a very long game 1.
When it's still going to require Judo's entire board just to clear off the Rhino, and this is the second Persistent Peddler, so that Death Rattle's not doing anything.
Yeah. Actually, Saku looking to maybe kill off the Persistent Peddler here just to take away the threat that Judo has. It does mean that the 1/1s are going to trade into the Trampling Rhino on the backswing, though.
Yeah, I would have maybe liked to see it the other way around, but this works too. This is a little less damage, and the thing I'm worried about for Saku is that once Judo starts to play these bigger minions, things like Illidari Inquisitor getting these skulls out of the hand, Saku hasn't gotten very much chip damage in. I mean, it's turn 5, and Judo's only at 23.
Yeah, and Judo is looking to stay off the board and maybe stay a bit healthier here. I mean, if there's no minions on board after these 1/1s trade, the Piercing Shot's not going to do anything. But I guess Wound Prey into Piercing Shot is maybe what Saku's looking for.
Yeah, that's pretty good. You have to wonder whether or not there will be minions on board. There still could be, as this I-Beam does look kind of sweet. Star Student Stelina will be picked up. Interesting.
That's a card that I wrongfully thought was going to be very good going into the going to the meta it was introduced. But here we see the Piercing Shot taken away. A lot of burst damage from Saku now gone.
Yeah, that's actually such a good pick, and obviously now has a little more information about the hand, knows that Tracking and Quick Shot are there, so Quick Shot can clear off this Star Student Selena and draw Saku a card, but that's only if he wants to dump his whole hand.
Yeah, and depending on what the tracking gets, we might not even see the quick shot be able to draw. But I assume that Saku's going to just completely hand dump here, try and set up this quick shot. And not much hand dumping can be done for Judochop since he elected not to stall last turn.
Yeah, I think at this point Judo's waiting on this Illidari Inquisitor. Maybe it's something like Fellsteel Executioner and a top deck for next turn, waiting to play the Inquisitor before these skulls come out. And, while it may not have been the best decision in the mulligan, it's absolutely worked out so far. As it's turn 6 and he's still feeling pretty healthy, has control of the board. So if he can keep this up until Inquisitor, he's in a good place.
Whoa, and that's that is 1/9/7 Trampling Rhino. If the first one was hard to deal with 6 health, with 7 health, it's going to be even harder.
Yeah, that's pretty darn good. It's really hard to beat a 9/7 Trampling Rhino, especially since Saku has been so conservative with these True Aim Crescent Strikes, right? Still has 2 durability on this. It'll have durability once Rhino comes down. And if there's 2 minions played, like if Judo goes double Executioner on this turn, Rhino's going to hit twice.
Yeah, and we see the Skull cooldown not with any discounts, but it is going to corrupt both Fellsteel Executioners at least. It is. I'm glad that Saku last turn almost did a little bit of an order lull, but made sure to trade off the 1/1 rush before attacking with the weapon. If a weapon had happened first, though, the 3/4 on board would have attacked him and died.
Yeah, absolutely. Philosophy, a decent pickup off of the Ladar studies here. And really, actually, smart from Judo not to put any minions down on the board, right? Saku's going to sort of miss out on a Trampling Rhino hit, may have to go face with other options.
Yeah, we're going to see Judo's big green men come down very soon. And, it's only a limited amount of time now, limited time offer for Saku's life total, as big green man after big green man. After 3 turns, that's sort of just the end of the game. We see plenty of attack to kill 21 health on Saku.
Yeah, but it has to be said that these Illidari Inquisitors don't actually have charge, as Judo's still only at 8 mana. He would need, to have equipped the Fellsteel Executioner already, and so he's going to do that. May go with a Cult Neophyte or something this turn, but if you're not killing this Warsong Wrangler, there's a high chance you're just dead. Not even going to play the Neophyte.
Choosing not to play anything on board is going to be lethal, as that piercing shot allows him to play Wolpertinger, piercing shot his own minion, and hero power. And Saku does see it, so Demon Hunter is gone on the side of Judochop.
Yeah, smart line from Saku here. And Judo just never really got off the ground. The Illidari Inquisitor keep didn't end up paying off. Ends up locked with 3 in hand on turn 8 and can't even play them, so.
Well, with the Demon Hunter gone and the Hunter probably being more of a face variant from Judochop, there's really only the Warlock left. So we'll see if that Warlock can reverse sweep from this point.
Yeah, if you get decent heals with the Warlock, you can absolutely beat off a Face Hunter. And it's better than queuing into a mirror, right? So you should definitely queue the Warlock here, looking to maybe get a big Tamsin Roam turn with a lot of Drain Souls and Touch of the Nathrezim.
Yeah, or like we were talking about earlier, the Spiced Bread Baker. Instead, actually, we're going to see a sort of a Face Hunter mirror.
Yeah, we are. Is queuing the Face Hunter in. Interesting to see how this will go. This is a lot of early game board control and pressure, so it is advantageous for Judo to be on the play.
And we see Intrepid Initiate is actually great. It is going to be seen by an Intrepid Initiate of Saku's own, which unfortunately, paired with the Wound Prey and Coin, will clear it off. But the hope was there for this Intrepid Initiate to stick.
Yeah, it's the strongest turn 1 play that Hunter has a lot of the time, especially with the quick shot in hands to deal with whatever Saku plays, right? Judo Chop probably feeling pretty good. Obviously, we can see, yep, Initiate into Coin Wound Prey does deal with the board while establishing a decently sized one of zone, but depending on the top deck, Judo Chop can just quick shot this and even out the board.
Yeah, the Wriggling Horror does not look so great, so probably going to be the quick shot used. Kolkar Packrunner has got to put a lot of work in for Judo Chop here to bring him back into this game.
Yeah, but that is actually sort of the only benefit to the Packrunner change is it has 4 health now. When you play it on 3, it's actually much harder to kill, especially in this mirror. There's not much that does 4 damage. Lots of 3, not a lot of 4.
Yeah, that is something actually with Hearthstone in general right now is there's so much stuff that deals 3 damage exactly. I mean, especially from Hunter, we see quick shot in hand. There's aim shot that was just printed. Just tons and tons of 3 damage removal, and then Dark Glare buffed to 3/4, and Kolkar Packrunner also buffed to 3/4. Don't care about the mana changes here.
Clearly just a stronger minion. I don't really know why anyone would call it a nerf.
Yeah, they're just mana changes. They're not nerfs.
Yeah, this was an adjustment.
Yeah, and
we're hero power pass.
Yeah, we're going to see not much of anything from Saku, meaning that it's Judo Chop's free reign here to sort of push ahead.
Yeah, and there's a couple of good options from Judo on this turn. He can, after summoning this 1/1, he can go True Aim, Crescent, and Wriggling Horror. Yeah, picks up the Warsong Wranglers is what he's going to do. I also considered, just taking the aim shot and playing it, getting as much value out of the Packrunner as you can. But now the Packrunner's at 5 health, Saku's going to feel really bad piercing shotting this minion.
Yeah, it looks like instead of getting as much value out of the Kolkar Packrunner as possible, it looks like he's trying to get as much value out of this Trampling Rhino as possible. And really just trying to close out this game with the small advantage that he's starting with.
Yeah, you're totally right. And drawing 2 Trampling Rhinos or 1 Rhino and a Warsong Wrangler, right, is a really great way to finish out the Hunter Mirror. Looking at maybe a freezing trap here from Saku. Yeah, elected to go with the Renling's Rifle last turn instead of the piercing shot, which I totally get, is going to put the Wriggling Horror back in hand, which is a decent battle card, but costing 4, not something you really want to play. Looking at maybe a Mankrik Hero Power.
Mankrik Hero Power, or could be the Warsong Wrangler setting up for next turn. Just going to be the Mankrik, though. Just deal as much damage as possible. Try and close out this game as fast as possible.
Yeah, I actually like this, because I think that establishing a more board-based and now-based plan for Judo Chop is really great, especially because this Packrunner has not been answered, has not even been touched in the last couple of turns, right? So maybe the hope here is actually to play Wriggling Horror and Hero Power in the next turn. But as we see, Saku will quick shot the Packrunner as well as hit into it with his face. So that Packrunner has hit 3 to 4 times now. I think 3 times.
Yeah, one buff from Blizzard, and already it's dealing 12 damage. That is really good for Judo Chop. Really bad for Saku, actually, was the top deck this turn, the Trampling Rhino. It means that he's sort of locked into only having 5/5 Rhinos, because the thing that would buff it, the Warsong Wrangler, can only get them from deck.
Yeah, and Saku's just kind of generally in a rough position right now. These Rhinos didn't get to come down on 5, right? Saku's never had the board all game since his own turn 1. So Judo Chop could kind of has a lot of options here as to how to finish out the game, and especially the Secret 2 Snake Trap, just not really going to be useful. So Judo can play with the Horror, Warsong Wrangler, and Hero Power. Almost any way he does this, it's going to spell out lethal in the next 2 to 3 turns.
Yeah, the burst potential from Hunter is closer to around that sort of 7 damage range. You can potentially do something like a piercing shot on your own 1/1 to deal 5 along with Hero Power. Definitely not 24. So Saku is in range from Judo Chop and doesn't have the ability to counterattack here.
Yeah, and if you can't kill, you gotta clear the board, but one Trampling Rhino, not quite gonna be enough with the Terrarium Crescent. Actually, still not enough. Saku's still guaranteed dead on board from just hero power and weapons, so gonna trade into the Mankrik, do his due diligence, and presumably concede. Nope, not gonna concede, just gonna die.
As Saku emoted, our actions will speak well for us. Judo Chop's final actions here will be the end of this game. And now, I mean, Face Hunter starts maybe sweeping right back.
Yeah, clearly. I think we were destined to just see Face Hunter being king of the hill in this last Hero Standing match here. So Saku's got a couple of options now. I believe has the Paladin and the Priest to go up into the Face Hunter. What would you like to see in queue here?
Oh, I mean, what I would like to see something probably different from what Saku would probably like to bring here. I want to see this this Paladin against the Face Hunter. It is it's more of an even matchup, but yeah, no, the Priest is more of like a 40% for the Hunter here. Just the Priest gets out so fast onto the board.
Yeah, Priest is absolutely the counter here. I'm excited to see which variant of the Priest deck Saku has brought. There's a lot of different lists running around. The typical one right now seems to feature Kazakus in the 4, but some more fun ones include Disciplinary and Gandling and things like that. Murloc Tiny Fin. So I personally would like to see some of those. Oh, Knife Vendor.
Ooh. So it looks like Saku is building just to do as much burst as possible, and especially with that Void Touch Attendant getting out here early, I don't really see much that Judo Chop has in response. Alt Neophyte plus Terrarium Crescent, I guess.
Yeah, I think you have to play the Crescent this turn, Neophyte next turn, and just hope it's enough. Judo Chop missing a lot of his early game strong board tools. Actually just gonna Wound Prey. Adorable Infestation on turn 1. Okay, an interesting line. Gonna take 2 health off the Frazzled Freshman.
Right.
But we'll see how this develops in the next few turns. Saku, interestingly, just going face.
Yeah. Well, it looks like Judo's trying to just establish as much board presence as possible early here to try and play around the early game minions, try and clear them off. But we see the curve from Saku is not to be trifled with. Mankrik into the Knife Vendor, along with the Void Touch Attendant and Raised Deads to get back the Mankrik. Just a lot of heavy hitters from Saku.
Yeah, and I wouldn't even mind skipping on the Knife Vendor next turn to do something with Tour Guide and Void Touch Attendant. But it is unfortunate that up until this turn, right, Judo Chop has actually kept him off the board, which if you take a Priest off the board in the first couple of turns, they really don't have as much over-the-top damage as you do as the Face Hunter, or even finishers like Trampling Rhino, right? Raised Dead is one of the most valuable cards, and even that just helps them fight back on the board again. So we'll see. Is Judo Chop going to take this Terrarium Crescent attack?
Wow.
He is, so going to sacrifice 3 minions into this Mankrik? That's a lot.
Yeah, I guess one of the main blessings that that Judo Chop is really looking for is that the Priest is off the board right now, but going to be disappointed to see the Priest get right back on here with probably Raised Dead, Mankrik, and maybe even Tour Guide, clearing off, making a resilient board, and yeah, the Knife Vendor is not, you know, great mana wise, but it's 3/4 bodies. It's just big enough that all these small minions from Judo Chop just can't deal with it.
Yeah, and that 3/4 body is gonna be what's important about Knife Vendor in this matchup. You're really not looking for the face damage. Warsong Wrangler will presumably pick up a Rhino for the next turn. And I would have maybe liked to see an attack out of the Mankrik. I think that leaving up a 1/1, great idea.
Whoa.
And also you could have cleared off Mankrik, but wow! Oh, just immediately top decks an Olgra. I believe there is still another Olgra.
Wife on 5. It's not Wife on 4, but that decides games even when it's not an aggressive matchup. And here we see I mean, Saku is now just firmly in the driving seat. This Trampling Rhino can kill the Mankrik consumed by hatred here, but it's not actually doing much of anything.
Yeah, and the unfortunate part about Rhino coming down too is that it's a little awkward even with the True Aim Crescent here because so many things would just die to the Warsong Wrangler. So I think what Judo's going to have to do is play the Rhino, trade into maybe the Void Touched Attendant, and then True Aim Crescent the Mankrik consumed by hatred, or just regular Mankrik.
Now, actually, there's some different ideas for what Judo could attack here. Could just try and race, especially with the priest taking 4 extra damage right there. If the Trampling Rhino attacks the Cult Neophyte and then the Void Touched Attendant, that's going to be, I believe, 11 damage coming out. Oh no!
Yeah, but I don't know that you actually can do that because I'm not 100% sure on this, but doesn't True Aim Crescent use your first played minion first?
Never mind. You are correct. The True Aim Crescent will have to go into the Mankrik consumed by hatred to not just.
Yeah, and Judo's gonna find that out right here. Is only the Warsong Wrangler will attack the Trampling Rhino, gets his 1 attack off, and still evens out those life totals. Actually puts Judo Chop a little bit in the lead, but it's now Saku's turn, and Saku has a chance to solidify his board control.
Yeah, if Saku decides, he can very easily set Judo right about down to 4, or actually maybe even a little bit better to set him down to 6 here, which is 1 hero power and 1 Knife Vendor, and we see 2 in Saku's hand. If Saku plays the Knife Vendor along with the Wriggling Horror, we can just see quite a lot of damage come out.
Yeah, there's a couple of options here. You can start pressing that face damage, or you can clear off the board, keeping all of your minions alive, and look to set up just a different kind of lethal on the next turn, which I think is what Saku was going for here. So presumably going to hero power down the Warsong Wrangler, trade the 4/8 into the 7/3, 4/5 goes face, and that's lethal on the board.
Yep, and unfortunately, no 1/3 Void Touched Attendant on Saku's board, so the aim shot can't deal essentially, I believe, 7 damage, or rather 9 damage alongside the hero power. It's just out of reach.
Yeah, it's not quite enough.
Saku has it all in reach.
Doesn't do anything. Kotobane doesn't do anything, so Judo Chop just dead. Gonna sort of consider his options, maybe tracking into something fun, but I believe we're gonna be moving on to game 4 pretty shortly.
So that would mean that Judo is down to just his Warlock in a second here after both players decide to agree that it is over. And with the Warlock, it is sort of down to whether Judo draws that Soul Rend or not. Keeping the Priest off the board in the early turns is going to give the Warlock just a little bit more time to be able to live and win.
Yeah, and in terms of the series, actually ended up being really beneficial. That also, I just want to say that a great play, great line from Judo Chop keeps him technically alive on board. Obviously, we can see there's 2 Knife Vendors and such, but Judo Chop did take what seemed like his best potential out.
Yeah,
I believe
we do actually see
exactly 11.
Yeah, we do see exactly 11. It's just up to Saku to actually play the card. It looks like maybe Saku's missing it.
No.
If Saku ends up missing it, there is actually an out for Judo Chop if Saku plays the Knife Vendor and pings off the 3/2.
Yeah, I think he's looking at the Void Shard, maybe.
Okay,
that hero power's going face. He's counted it. Yeah, please, Saku, all 3 cards in your hand are lethal. And
ends up finding the one to just clean it up. And 2 basically coin flips for this Warlock, depending on what sort of cards Judo can draw.
Yeah, it really beneficial for Judo in the series that he won the Hunter Mirror, right? And so his Warlock is the thing that's left up. But we'll see if he can get that Soul Rend, even just massive Tamsin turns or just early touch of the Nathrezim, things like that, keeping the Priest off the board can be really impactful. But as we've seen from Saku's gone very aggressive with this Priest build, right? Void Shard and Knife Vendor is about as much over the top damage as the Priest can run.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see. He can finish out the game from probably a higher health total than most Priest builds you're used to seeing.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be interesting. Since neither Knife Vendor was played, it's possible that Judo just doesn't think about it. And that might give another opening for this Priest here. It's sort of like when you play Ooze in some classes and you just don't reveal that you have the Ooze, it can sort of trick opponents into still committing their weapons. It looks like this is going to be a miscue from Judo. Judo cannot bring his Demon Hunter out.
Yep.
After Judo says "Feel the hatred of 10,000 years," we're probably going to have 10,000 restarts of game.
Yeah, it should be a pretty quick restart. I'm not sure what the official THL rules are on a miscue, whether it's a game win or just a re-queue.
Yeah, I also am not sure.
I know that most players will just let you re-queue.
Yeah,
especially in a situation like this where you actually only have one choice of deck to queue.
Yeah, it's not like you're even getting into the game proper and playing cards and and taking games or anything like that. We see that Judo realizes it and is going to come back in now with his Warlock.
Yeah, and it's not even like there's any in Conquest maybe that would gain you a little information into what your opponent was about to play, but he had to play Priest and you got to play Warlock. So really, nothing lost, nothing gained there, as I assume he will now queue up the Warlock.
Yeah, and I mean, speaking to sort of the ability to just bring right back with the Warlock, this miscue doesn't really exist. I mean, Saku is one of the kindest people in all of THL.
That's true.
I know this is water under the bridge as we are going into. We see a Soul Rend in hand, and the backfire as well is crazy from Judo Chop.
This is the start you want. This is the start you want if you're Judo Chop or a Judo Chop supporter here. Saku presumably a decently fast start too. Imprisoned Homunculus, not always the fastest, especially anti-synergy with Kul Tiran on 2, but is going to keep them both anyway.
Okay, Judo deciding to get rid of the Soul Rend, deciding that he doesn't want to have a winning card in this matchup. I'm going to talk to him about this afterwards. But we see the classic line. We're going to see backfire on 3. We're going to use this touch of the Nathrezim to try and stay healthy here, and not a ton of early pressure from Saku.
Yeah, and I think that's what's really going to save Judo Chop from even needing a Soul Rend, is that Saku really doesn't have that much aggressively to do on turns 1 and 2. Obviously, starting with the Imprisoned Homunculus will awaken on turn 3. Now has his pick of minions, could even coin out Shadowed Spirit.
Wow. Saku is running basically every single thing that could possibly damage the opponent here.
Oh, wow.
Or reads, deal damage.
Just going to hold on the value. Obviously, none of his 2-drops are at their highest value on this turn, except you could argue Cult Neophyte. So is actually going to hold on all of them, just Hero Power Face. I would have maybe liked to see the Neophyte, but I understand not playing any of the others.
Yeah, it is actually very interesting to note with the Shadowed Spirit that it does help complete the Warlock quest, since it damages on the Warlock's turn.
Yeah, true. Often it will end up doing that. As we will see, Judo Chop figures it out, playing out the backfire. Hand is importantly at 8 cards, as both Goldshire Knoll and Anetheron are drawn, which are both cards that would be at their lowest mana cost with just one more tap.
Yeah, and we're probably going to see that next turn. A tap play Anetheron. Unfortunately, can't also play the Goldshire Knoll, but look, an 8/6 is definitely going to put in some work here.
Yeah, I don't mind either Anetheron or Goldshire Knoll here. Neither are bad. Obviously, Goldshire Knoll would clear off the Homunculus, but Anetheron would do the same this next turn, and then you can play the Knoll. You've got Drain Soul and Touch of the Nathrezim to start healing back up. And looking to dig down through the deck is especially now. There's 2 Bloodshard Bristlebacks in hand, which is such a devastating card against Priest.
Yeah, for Judo Chop, as you're saying, getting down in the deck, this is final countdown to see just how many cards are removed, so we can get to 10. Because once we get to 10, I mean, these 2 Bristlebacks are going to just close out the game.
Yeah. Is Wriggling Horror actually not really going to change that much for Judo, other than putting his life total down a little more? We'll see what Saku does with his last 2 mana. If it's a Cult Neophyte, that could change things. But looking at probably Goldshire Knoll, Drain Soul, and Touch of the Nathrezim on this turn. Which is unfortunately not possible anymore with Cult Neophytes. So you're going to have to pick. Oh, second touch drawn is so good here, though. You can go Knoll, Touch, heal for 8, and full clear this board.
I think that's what I want to see if I'm a Judo Chop fan here. Deciding to have the Anetheron maybe attack into the 5/4, so that both the Knoll and the Anetheron live, might mean that Judo is playing still that well, we don't see the Shadowed Spirit killed at all, but it might mean that Judo Chop is playing the Battle Master to give Wind Fury, trying to keep both minions alive as long as possible.
Yeah, absolutely, and I think that's what we see, setting up a lethal out by smashing Anetheron into the face, right? If Saku doesn't deal with either of these minions, that would actually just be lethal with the Battle Master off the top, and especially going into turn 6 right now, Saku sort of has the pressure to deal with this, so he's going to Void Shard a minion and presumably trade into it as well.
Yeah, and Raise Dead now, the pool is just Anetheron, so we're going to see this Raise Dead get back Anetheron, and now the Knoll as well. Just a lot of value for Judo Chop here. Can do that along with tap, which
I'd like to see it played. You're not really worried about the 5/4 at the moment. You can just play both of these. You can trade into the 5/4 if you'd like with the Knoll. It does progress the quest a little. I would actually complete this stage of the quest and deal essentially no damage to you, so it seems like a good play.
No damage to you, 3 damage to the opponent. Keeps you just a little bit healthier. And Judo Chop, I mean, progressing like this, if Judo can hero power and backfire next turn, if he plays something like a Tour Guide, then he can also play Bristleback next turn.
True, yeah, there would be 5 cards drawn from the deck in that case. We'll see. There's also an argument as 2 Frazzled Freshmen come down. Sometimes you just play the Bristlebacks out if he can't get the backfire out next turn, which does look decently likely that he won't find it. Maybe a little difficult. Twilight Deceptor will draw Saku, presumably just a Raise Dead. Which
yeah, it looks like
we played this turn. Probably should.
Looks like Saku has, at least 2 more turns that he needs to survive here in order to actually finish off Judo, just because... Okay, I mean, Soul Rend milled away in the mulligan, and now it is just going to about put him right back in the driver's seat if he hero powers into the Baron Scavenger.
Yeah, Soul Rend is back for full value. 3 minions killed does not kill off the Ona Netheron. Right, Scavengers and Bristlebacks will be active next turn, so you can play down a Neophyte, hit face past the turn. You could even play a Bristleback if you wanted to, but keeping those for next turn probably seems smarter. Oh, Tap is interesting too. Can actually now play the Baron Scavenger. I didn't even see this.
Okay, and now, I mean, Saku can go back up to 13, but can't actually finish out the game here, and it's looking like this is going to be a Judo Chop win. I mean, we do still yet have to see, you know, the Anetheron can be pinged down right now, but with the Bloodstar Bristlebacks coming out next turn, I don't see the Priest being able to actually close it out.
Yeah, if those Bristlebacks weren't in hand, this would be a lot scarier for Judo Chop. It really should just be feeling so safe about this. You're guaranteed targets for the Bristlebacks with things like Cult Neophyte and such, so shouldn't be too much of an issue.
Yeah,
Saku gonna play something.
And if Saku ends up not playing any minions for whatever reason, but no, he's going to commit. If Saku didn't, we could even do Cult Neophyte, Bristleback, and then Bristleback your own Bristleback. Just ping off your own minions and finish off the game here.
True. Hams in Rome too for even more healing with the Drain Souls. This is just disgusting.
Not going to be necessary. This is by far enough. We'll see if WoW actually going to opt to Tamsin Double Drain Soul, which is the same amount of healing as the Bristleback, but instead of developing,
hold on to this Drain Soul. I would have liked to see the Bristleback, but in the end, both of these end up about the same. There's no card in Shadow Priest that can really do anything to this. So,
yep. Saku showing his hand a little bit here, but that is going to be it for the Priest. And now it is just Paladin's favored matchup into Warlock. Will the Warlock be able to scam its way out of this one?
Yeah, and the favoredness of the matchup sort of depends on the type of Paladin. Like you said, Handbuff Paladin, a more common deck, has a slightly above even matchup, I believe, where Secret Paladin has a pretty dominant matchup into Quest Warlock. So we'll see what Saku has brought. But we're going to Game 5 in our first series. This is exciting.
Yeah, if any of you guys in chat want to go ahead and spam Game 5 in with your channel points, now would be the time.
Absolutely. Game 5 in this first series, Judo Chop taking on Saku, as we will see.
This is looking like Secret. Usually Secret is going to play more of the Goody Two Shoes. Goody Two Shoes usually gets replaced with the stealth minions. And yeah, Secret has a just about 60% win rate into this Warlock. We'll see.
Yeah, interesting keep on Raise Dead from Judo Chop. I believe pitched back an unstable Shadow Blast. I would have maybe liked to see that the other way around.
Yeah, Raise Dead probably not going to actually get anything, and maybe he is focusing on the really good Raise Deads that he had last game. I mean, hey, if Flesh Giant can be discounted and played, then we'll see a lot of pressure from Judo.
Look, Flesh Giant, Touch of the Nathrezim, these are good cards, and with Raise Dead they're good as well, but Saku has just about the best Secret Paladin hand you could possibly hope for. Protector on 1 into either Sword of the Fallen or Hand of A'dal on turn 2.
I think we're probably going to see the Sword set up the Northwatch Commander on Saku's side here.
Especially with Thalnos played, right? You can clear it off with this weapon, start going face. This is just hugely powerful, and as we see, the Secret is Omayog, so going to stop almost any plans that Judo has of removing this.
Yeah, another one of the big boons that Secret Paladin has or Paladin in general has against this Warlock is just how sticky the minions are because of all these divine shields. It's almost as if Judo would need 2 Soul Rends in order to clear off the single board, because the first is just going to take off divine shields.
Yeah, Raised Dead could actually be a big brain keep here. You can use it to get rid of the Oh My Yogg and get like Pounce or Innervate or something good like that. We'll see if that's what Judo Choppa likes to do, but is going to play, or excuse me, Saku is going to play Northwatch Commander on turn 3, and this is reminding me a bit of Forged in the Barrens.
Yeah, I mean, hey, Pounce is removal, so don't knock it. Nah.
Yeah, and I actually would like to see the Raised Dead here. Like you know he has Oh My Yogg. Saku only runs 2 secrets and has them both out.
Instead, we're going to see Unstable Shadow Blast being played. Just have to be careful from this point not to fully invest in Raised Dead and then the Blood Mage Thalnos, because then that means the 3/4 will be coming out from Saku's side.
Yeah, and that was so unfortunate, actually. Slam was a really good card to get off of Oh My Yogg, and it could have been such a blowout if it hit the Northwatch Commander and then he touched and the Nathrazimed it, right? That would have been like a actually huge swing, even just from the Slam. But it does, unfortunately, hit the Righteous Protector. As Saku, a lot of options on this turn. Looking like he's going for the first Blade of Rin, unbuffed, but still a 3/5 Divine Shield.
Yeah, there's very few ways to buff in Secret Paladin. So First Blade of Rin is not going to have Rush all that often. Really, it's just the 3-mana 2/2 draw a minion hand buff. But, I mean, hey, a 3/5 sticky minion is usually good enough. Unfortunately, here it looks like we're going to see the third card play, which means the 3/4 will come out.
True, I'm assuming this third card will be Colton Neophyte here, yes, which will summon the Steed. The Holy Steed, as Saku has a lot of, again, great options on this turn. Could even, like, look to coin out the Battlegrounds Battlemaster. Alliance Bannerman or something else are more sane plays, perhaps. Oh, actually can't coin, sorry, because of the Cult Neophyte. So probably looking at Bannerman or Goody 2 Shields and some amount of Knights of Anointment.
Yeah, looks like we're going to just draw as many cards as possible this turn. Set up for our big board alongside this Battlemaster, Deal in Face, and last week Judo Chop did end up getting killed by a Paladin, and it's looking like this is going to be more of the same, unfortunately.
Yeah, could be. A lot of strong minions in Judo's hand here, but just no way to get them out effectively without like using this entire turn. And a Flesh Giant just honestly doesn't do enough right here in the game. So maybe gonna have to tap for an answer. Even Soul Rend doesn't do it into this board. So looking pretty tough for Judo with the hand that he has.
Yeah, it was interesting to not see the Knight of Anointments get played last turn from Saku. It does mean that you can't go Conviction, and have them all actually hit minions that can attack, assuredly. But it is quite possible that we're going to just see that get played. Knight of Anointment, draw Conviction, play Conviction. Knight of Anointment, draw Conviction, play Conviction. And that could be lethal.
Yeah, I don't even know that it's needed. Is it just lethal with Battlegrounds Battlemaster?
I mean, it's certainly not needed. It's not going to be lethal with Battlegrounds Battlemaster because it is only 13.
Yes.
Got 3 and 2 doubled to 10 plus the 3 from whatever Protect Minion doesn't say. I mean, it's not needed to kill Judo Chop from here, but it certainly is a lethal out, and giving the Warlock fewer turns is better.
Yeah, absolutely. Probably going to look to push all of these face. Yep. Playing down the Hand of Vidal as well. Draws a second Battleground Battlemaster.
Slight Q order, getting the Goody 2 Shields to proc, but I don't think it's going to matter as this Warlock gets put down way low with no recourse.
Yeah, a bit of a tap last moment, but as you said, it really just doesn't matter. This is a huge board from Saku, and there's nothing Judo can do about it.
Yeah, Judo can backfire and maybe find something to draw one final card. It's not looking very promising.
Yeah,
Even
Judo Chop options, but should realize he's dead pretty soon.
instead, we're going to see just counter pressure. You set me down to 6. I'm going to set you down to. Oh, never mind.
Oh, some unfortunately fruitless board clears. It is a fair amount of power cleared off as glorious and terrible Raise Dead is played, brings Judo to 3, and then back to sleep with the concede. Saku takes the series 3-2.
Judo is going to go back to sleep, and we're going to see Saku back in the casting booth once we get him in for an interview, I believe. Yeah, it's just all this aggro was too much for the Warlock to handle. We see Warlock can scam some matchups, but maybe Paladin is still very strong.
Yeah. And there he is, Saku himself. Congratulations on the win.
So, Saku, I don't know if you can quite hear us right now or even talk right now, but definitely want to know about what you were prepping for your matchups with all this aggro that you were bringing.
Guys, can you hear me?
Now we can.
Yes,
Okay.
there we go.
I just didn't have my mic set up. It's like, oh, crap. So, give me 1 sec here. All the aggro I brought, I learned off of Mojo. I learned off of Mojo with the
Taught you well.
Yes. I got punished there with Priest last time, so I thought I'd echo greatness with Mojo there.
And
actually, go ahead.
speaking of you bringing aggro, I mean, it looks like Judo could have brought some anti-aggro. Were you expecting some different, more control-y lists from him?
I wasn't sure what to expect the way things were going. All I knew was with Warlock, all my teammates were just telling me to go as fast as I can, and and that's it. I ended up calling Judo Chop Judo Priest just after saying good games. Anyway, but yeah, it was just I guess that was the theme. It's just try and go fast and go hard. So I knew I messed up Hunter pretty bad in the mirror matchup. So that threw me for a loop, but all good.
I don't think it was. I don't think it was much of a mess up, actually. I mean, you just sort of didn't draw the same amount of early game that and you drew your trampling round as before you could Warsong Wrangler them.
Yeah.
You had a great turn 1, but your rhinos were just like +2/+1 smaller.
Yeah, they showed up early. They showed up to the party early, and that was the funny part.
Be nice.
I know. It's like, hey, I'm on time, so I don't need buffs. Let's go. But congrats to Judo Chop. It was a super interesting match, and I was hoping they didn't have. I was kind of really wary of what Demon Hunter was going to be, because Fell seems to be going ballistic, and I didn't really have anything to really stop it.
Yeah, did you prep against Fell at all?
No. So
I mean, hey, all the prep went in the right place then.
That's right. Yeah, it was kind of interesting. So we had Alien Santa, who's the hunter extraordinaire, as everybody knows in THL. So he was helping me with that. But as for familiarity, yeah, I was just crossing my fingers. I didn't make the wrong guess. Turned out to be a death rattle. So that's good.
Thank you for that information. I'm gonna go ahead and write down that Alien Santa likes Hunter.
Yeah.
Facing him tomorrow, so thank you very much.
Quote unquote If you just ask how many wins he has, he can give you a screenshot. He'll tell you. It's like in Wild.
Ban it, Geranium. Now you have to ban it.
Oh no.
There's certain individuals in Wild that love Hunter, and I think it's just tip my tongue.
Yeah,
Anyway.
Hunter is getting better. I mean, Ron Mexico is a Hunter lover.
He's a Priest lover
as well.
Come on.
Whoa.
Let's be real here. Ron loves Priest.
Okay, I mean, I know you usually you post in THL and you at everyone saying that it was a great game and everything. Don't at Ron that, because I don't know how he'll take it.
Oh, Ron's good fella. Everybody likes to razz him, including Brushy. So we all got to pile on. So yeah, it's again tough match with Judo. First time in THL as well. So it's they're having a good time and a good experience.
Yeah, and hopefully for you and MAAST, this is the start of a comeback victory this week with you putting up the first win on the board for your team for the week.
Yeah. Trying to think of who. Just taking a look at the stats here real quick. We were. I think we're getting blown out here. Let me see.
Well, you were down 2 sets, and now it could be the reverse sweep, just like Hero.
Hey.
Yeah, it's getting closer. It should be now 6-10.
Yep.
I believe.
Yeah, I haven't filled out the forms yet, but yeah. So it's always Lethal is super good player, and he's going up against a 2-0 player, Dr. Bombed, and then guy named Geranium.
Yeah,
Badel?
Geranium, I think.
Geranium Badel.
Yeah.
Going against Santa Claus.
Subbing in.
Santa Claus going up against someone who's never played in Hero. No clue how to feel about that. Probably gonna give Santa the edge here, and with Always Lethal being a 1 seed in the 3 against Dr. Bombi, who was a 4 seed at the start of the season. I mean,
yep.
How do you feel about your team's chances?
I got every confidence. I mean, the players are really strong. I mean, it's way different atmosphere in chat. It's like Magnificent is such a communicator. It's crazy. Him and the Alien Santa are always, firing ideas off. You know how the team chats are. You either get the quiet ones or you end up having somebody that's just 1,000 words a minute. Our hat telling you matchups and giving you some tips and deletes and ads and all that stuff. So it's he's been an awesome help, and Always Lethal is great too. Just throwing their opinions and such. So we have a great team. So I'm confident we're at 1-1 this season, but I'm confident we'll climb into the playoffs and then see what happens. Maybe a no pros here and masked finals.
Very strong finals indeed. I mean, blast to masked. Previous champions.
Yeah, we had to change the name a little bit, but anyway.
Well, speaking of being talkative on Discord, thank you very much for talking with us and doing this interview. We are going to be moving on to the next match, but for that, thank you very much, Saku. Have a great night.
Yeah, you too. Thanks, guys, for casting. Wild9 for jumping on, and thanks to all the viewers for watching me misplay like a mole. So, anyway, have a great one, guys.
GG's. Well done, Saku.
Funny.
So, it seems we already have bans for the next match. Going to be Corridon versus Sunday.
Yeah, and after talking with the ever wonderful Saku there, we see that I believe we have again a double Shaman ban.
Really just seems like Shaman is the target. Last week we saw just a ton of Hunter bans, and this time it's a lot of Shamans, which is interesting.
Yeah, we're just destined not to see Quest Shaman games this stream, and that's okay if that's how the players are feeling. So just as a little bit of context, this is now Corridon from Dad Legend versus Sunday from Tan Pam's Surf Slam.
Yes, both are 3 seeds. So far, Dad Legend up 4 points to 0 after Isocles swept Desharmo in the 1. But now Corden maybe looking to try and close it out a little bit as we keep moving up these seeds here. Now we are going to start getting into it, though.
Yeah, we are in the 3 seed. This is the 3 seed match with the double shaman ban. Corridon is left with Druid, Priest, and Warlock. Actually, as is Sunday, they submitted the same exact thing.
Yeah, hard to say who is favored just from classes, but hey, specific decks though, that is where the real choices are going to be found.
Ooh, and it's already one of my favorites. This is Aggro Taunt Druid from Sunday.
And it's already one of my favorites. We get to see a Quest Warlock. Ooh.
You can tell what kind of players we are.
Yes, I mean, we see a peasant from Matt Sunday here, and just going to absolutely start getting as much advantage as possible, unless Corden coins out this Mortal Coil, which it looks like he is going to do.
Yeah, coin Mortal Coil is really not bad here. The only reason you wouldn't do it is maybe trying to get some value off this Goldshire Knoll, stack up the cards in hand, but I like it. Peasant is really actually a surprisingly strong snowball card, especially in this deck, so I like getting it off the board. And Sunday misses his turn 2. Not what you were hoping for.
Wow, Soul Rend is definitely the pickup that Corden wants to see. Even the second one is really going to keep his life total high and stop this Aggro Druid from killing him.
Yeah, and a great Shadow Blast there too, progresses the quest and gets the annoyingly sticky Oracle of Elune off the board. But Oracle of Elune may be just the key card in the deck, right? Even this turn it would have snowballed so hard with this Annoyatron, which has still made a surprisingly resilient board.
Yeah, it looks like Corden has been focusing on removing as much as possible, and he's been right to. So many good chaining effects from Sunday here. Would have made a board of Divine Shield Annoyatrons. Would have been just really, really annoying. We might even see the Knoll ping off this Divine Shield here to allow a Soul Rend to come out.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind it. And the first Soul Rend sets up the second one to actually be the really devastating one, because once you've seen a Soul Rend, you're more likely to commit. Actually, just going to start with the first one. And I don't mind this either. Keeping the Knoll as second Soul Rend for whatever Sunday redevelops with, apart from Greyball, but he's not going to cast Greyball. He's actually going to full develop without it. He will put a composting on top of them, so will not be so hard punished if Corden wants to use the second Soul Rend, but I don't see a reason why not to.
I mean, the reason why not to is that you have used up your last Soul Rend. So it's a little bit iffy as to whether Corden should do that. I mean, I don't think that this 1/1 brigade is going to be that harmful if Corden decides to hero power and play the Knoll here. Would even progressing the quest, getting this Flesh Giant discounted quite a bit more, just means the Soul Rend stays in hand, keeps you away from the impending doom of squirrels, acorns.
Sure, you're probably right, and denying more draw going into the next turn seems good too, right? Preventing somebody from fully redeveloping. So yeah, Corden sees it too. Is going to start with the life tap, presumably go into the Goldshire Knoll here as well. Clears off the Annoyatron. Sunday will only draw 1 card and is left with, as you said, a board of sort of weaker, not as relevant minions.
Yeah, the kind of minions that we would love to touch, essentially. Wow, going to just fully pull out the hand. I mean, hey, you're going to get it all back in a second here. And also deciding to trade, very good, and not allowing a trade into Soul Rend. Oh, but I mean, the Mortal Coil pickup will stop it anyways. This Greybow is not going to find anything.
That's so sweet, and even potentially just as relevant. That Soul Rend puts Corden down to 11 cards in the deck. So on the next turn, turn 7, he will draw into that. Oh, actually, on this turn, it'd be Mortal Coils would draw into that. But I
Wow,
like the
this
Shadow
is-
Blast.
This is so aggressive. I actually, I don't really like the Shadow Blast. This Warlock going low is sure it can progress the quest a little bit,
Yeah.
but you didn't need to take 5 there. You didn't.
I think the
need
goal
to.
is that now a tap on the next turn completes this next phase. Oh, actually, looking to maybe raise Dead this turn.
That is
That's a little
so aggressive.
much.
Oh,
Yeah, it's
man.
gonna pass. So tap on the next turn will complete this phase of the quest too. But I agree. You're probably right. It probably wasn't necessary. I must admit, I thought he was still on the other phase of the quest, still on the first.
Yeah,
But he can
and
get some serious work done with Bristleback.
yeah, I mean the problem is, once this druid starts making its 5 health minions here, they become a little bit harder to remove without having the unstable blast. But we do see that the Bristleback is going to really be the winner here for Corden, or at least he's going to try and make it.
Yeah, interesting play going for Knoll first, then Raise Dead. I think that may have guaranteed him, or almost guaranteed him, to get back 2 Knolls, which is really powerful, especially in this hand. Flesh Giant also getting down very low, but I would have maybe liked to see tap into then just Knoll Bristleback without the Raise Dead, but I don't know. This works too. And back up to 21 is the huge point that Sunday has no board aside from a Fell Rattler, and opponent at 21, not what you want to see as a Taunt Druid.
Yeah, it looks like Corden had 1 Knoll as the only dead minion, so that raised Dead, killing the Knoll first allowed him to get both Knolls back, and now he's just going to absolutely go off and play every single big minion and try and just say that Matt Sunday does not have anything to actually stop it.
Yeah, and look, it's hard to prove that wrong. Sunday has no cards in hand. It's going to rely on a lot of acorns drawn, maybe to even get some semblance of a board, but whatever board he can develop just isn't as strong as double Flesh Giant, Goldshire, Knoll Baron Scavenger. This is looking like a concede angle for Sunday on the next turn.
Yeah, this is it looks like Sunday was barking up the wrong tree here with this aggro druid. Unfortunately, in this first game, might mean though that Sunday thought it was more disposable, and that he has another counter to this warlock. Hopefully,
Yeah. So Sunday now sitting on Priest and his own warlock left. We don't know what variety of warlock it is. The assumption that this is aggro priest and quest warlock of some variety. Could be D6, but probably looking at another version of the handlock again, as we are going to see, the handlock mirror queued up immediately from Sunday.
Yeah, we see Sunday with the bling here, some absolute bling on that golden demon seed. But yeah, it is just going to be the quest right back at it. The D6 warlock that you mentioned there is actually a pretty interesting bring because it is favored into the original just straight up quest.
Yeah, I wouldn't have minded to see it. I think that almost everyone's gonna be playing Warlock, so it might not be a bad bring sometimes, but we'll see. Sunday playing only the golden cards so far with a Coin Tour Guide turn 1.
Yeah, showing off only the golden cards, but we see actually some epics that aren't golden, including a burning pile of crap. This Altar of Fire here. Going to see if that gets played at all.
Yeah,
it progresses both of them.
Oh, especially in this matchup, it's just 1 mana, do nothing. Like, this is a pretty bad card here.
It's not 1 mana do nothing. It does progress you just ever so quickly towards having your scavengers be 1 cost, having your bristlebacks get you back into the game. I just don't think it's very good against specifically another warlock.
Yeah, exactly. Because what it's going to do in this matchup is it's going to progress you the exact same amount that's going to progress your opponents. You'd rather be getting off like a big soul rend or something like that. But we will see the Coin Tour Guide on turn 1 has allowed for first phase quest completion on turn 3, with the backfire putting Sunday up to 9 cards.
We see Sunday's hand is actually quite fast. Double Scavenger in hand, and the backfire as well. The second backfire drawn for Sunday means that he can get through his deck so quickly, along with that burning pile that he still has.
Yeah, and Corridon was at a bit of a crossroads this turn, had the option to maybe just play out a Goldshire Knoll instead of tapping, completing this quest phase, and moving on towards Flesh Giants, but I like the line that he's picked.
Yeah,
Double
it's
Altar of Fire. Do it.
also we'll
Right
see. It does
No
get you to
Flesh
10
Giants in
cards.
hand.
Unfortunately, you don't get to play your 2 scavengers that would cost 1 here, but it does get you to 10 cards, and then you could hypothetically play your Battle Master the turn after. And
Technically, it is possible.
look, I'm not
Ooh,
gonna
and I
say
like this Corridon.
being aggressive right back and saying he's going to complete the quest before Sunday. It really just, can Corridon back up this fast quest completion with boar removal is the question, because if he's using it on completing quest, he no longer has it for the threats that Sunday is bringing out.
True, but the issue for Sunday is that a lot of his threats are sort of lost. Doesn't have the Flesh Giants, potentially going to burn some of them here, especially if he double Altars of Fire to go into the Baron Scavengers. So while Scavengers are strong, Tams and Rome can make pretty quick work of them. Oh, and also, like, this puts Corridon 2 down to, like, exactly 10 cards going into this next turn. So Bloodshard Bristleback can clear one of these, just a regular Flesh Giant trade can clear one of these, another Scavenger comes down. This is actually way more advantageous for Corridon right here, especially as he draws a second Baron Scavenger. This is so good.
Yeah, and this is where Sunday's line is sort of not paying off for him, because he played these tour guides and these small minions. It means that if he raised that, his first raise that, it might not even get back his high value minions here.
Yeah, and like Corridon has drawn all the same high value minions that Sunday has, plus a Flesh Giant, right? So I'm looking at Bristleback Scavenger trade here, like just establishing a huge board on this turn. I think could be so powerful, especially with Raised Dead, right? Corridon has very few bad cards in the Raised Dead pool.
Yeah, Corridon has the Blood Mage Thanos is, I think, the only I would say bad minion.
Was Thanos played, or did it just get burnt?
Oh, it was played. It was played on board, and I don't remember exactly what removal piece Sunday used on it, but
Double Bristleback looks like maybe the play for Sunday. There's also the Soul Rend, but
yeah, and we see the absolute worst possible off of that. Raised Dead getting back 2 tour guides, and now the game is maybe even unwinnable for Sunday.
yeah, you never want to say it, but especially Tams and Drain Souls clears this off. This Raised Dead gonna pull back probably maybe both Scavengers, maybe a Scavenger and a Thalanos, but you're not sad about either of those things. Battle Master in the hand now too. Corridon has all the tools he needs to start closing this game out.
Yep, just about putting it all together. We might end up seeing, just some more draw here, just just progressing closer to his quest completion with tour guide and Mortal Coil's own tour guide. He doesn't need to even put on all the minion pressure right now, because he's a full, basically quest progression ahead of Sunday.
Yeah, it's true. And while Sunday is actually still at 30 life, this is a huge board coming down from Corridon. It is a little weak to the Soul Rend that we see in Sunday's hand, so will probably be the play. But Soul Rend even here feels so bad as you're burning pretty much the rest of your deck.
Yeah, and probably even burning your other giant and making it so you have 1 Knoll left. As threats, really just not looking clean at all for Sunday.
Sunday can maybe try to avoid playing the Soul Rend and just go like Tamsin, Drain Soul with a tap or something. You don't get to clear off either Scavenger, but the Scavengers are a little hard to deal with anyway.
Yeah, there's still a touch of the Nathrezim would be an amazing tap to find. So I think I'd like to see Tour Guide into tap just to get the most information here. You could clear off almost the entire board if you draw touch.
You're totally right. And that is touch actually, and this completes that phase of the quest. Cordon's still in a massively advantageous position, but this is about the best outcome Sunday could have hoped for this turn.
Yeah, stops Cordon from killing him right now and goes all the way back up to 30 life. And then, though, all Cordon has to do is tap and play his quest reward, and then suddenly he has an entire other avenue to start killing somebody else.
Yeah, it's true. And he's very close to the bottom of his deck as well. 5 cards left with Soul Rend, Tour Guide in hand, things like that. And I believe there's actually still a second Flesh Giant in the deck too, so if that's drawn... Oh, and it is drawn! He gets to play up Lightborn Tamsin and Flesh Giant. This is just so disgustingly powerful from Gordon.
Oh
yeah,
my
Tamsin
God.
Rome is nice, but how do you feel about Blightborn Tamsin?
Yeah, just you have your golden quest, and I have my quest reward. Really just an entire league of his own here. And actually, while you were while he was playing the quest reward there, I sort of looked at the rest of Cordon's deck, and there's only really one life steal card left, the Drain Soul that he just drew. I don't think that Sunday has much options left to gain back any sort of life advantage, especially with the 2 Baron Scavengers not being Bristlebacks.
And also, I believe that there's a chance that these last 2 cards are just like Flesh Giant Goldshire, or Flesh Giant, I think Shadow Blast or something like that, right? So, but the Flesh Giant will, it would have gotten burnt if you played out the Soul Rend instead. Opts not to Soul Rend probably for that reason, but this board just isn't quite strong enough to keep yourself away from Battleground Battle.
And that's lethal. That is lethal if he plays the Battle Master in between the 2, uses Unstable Shadow Blast. That will be the end of it. I mean, hey, you can tap too. It's
you can. It's
extra
hard.
damage.
0 mana.
Don't need it.
I want to see Battle Master between the Tour Guides for BM.
Wow, that is actually not winning if you do that. And it looks like Cordon is not winning either right now.
No, chooses just not to Shadow Blast. We don't like to win here. Actually, is going to Shadow Blast his own Tour Guide.
Finding a different avenue for the same lethal.
Yeah. That's more fun, actually. I like that one.
Yeah, and the stylish way to put Sunday down to just Priest. You saw Priest versus Warlock earlier today with Judo versus Saku's Priest. Wonder if Sunday is bringing the same sort of idea.
Yeah, we did. I guess there's a chance it's like Control Priest, but that seems weird and I don't want it to be. So, nope, and it's not. There's a Murloc Tiny Fin in hand, which implies to me Disciplinary and Gandling somewhere in the deck. This is a bit of a faster variation with less over-the-top damage, much more board-focused. Traveling Merchants are better in this variation too. And Voracious Reader is a strong card, but we'll see. It's still not a favored matchup for Sunday. It's pretty close to even, but missing a couple win rate points there. Is going to go wide on turn 1, though.
Yeah. We see Murloc Tiny Fin suggesting Disciplinary and Gandling, and Voracious Reader suggesting a very powerful start from Sunday.
Yeah, you're totally right.
Oh my God, the Soul Rend actually. Top deck from Cordon is going to shut out the game when that comes.
Yeah, it's just so disgusting, and Neophyte doesn't stop it, right? You can even coin into Soul Rend even just on the next turn. Argent Squire is kind of funny from Sunday. That prevents one thing from dying. But and he plays with the Voracious Reader too. This is just such a disgusting coin Soul Rend.
Oh, and the cards that he drew off of it right before he can play the Traveling Merchant and get an absolutely huge minion. It's all gone.
And Dark Bishop Benedictus can just feel like such a whiff in this deck. It can win games in aggro mirrors and such like that, but in a matchup like this, it's not.
Yeah, and here's the other problem is that Soul Rend killing so many minions puts Corden quite close to backfiring into the Bloodshard Bristleback on turn 6. Really just not much avenue here for the priest to start.
Sunday's trying to find his way back onto the board. Tour Guide Wriggling Horror will give him board control. Free hero power with the Benedictus on the next turn, but especially since that Voracious Reader died, he's just out of gas. This isn't really probably going to be enough.
And Corden is pumping up the gas right now with the backfire going to come out probably right now. Maybe even a tap.
Yeah, the only scary thing is that Corden is taking a lot of damage and can't clear this board. So if something like a Void Touch Attendant were to come down next turn, it would be a lot of damage. So I don't mind seeing the blast here, but it's a lot of damage.
Corden is being so aggressive with these blasts here. We're completing stages of the quest and removing a little bit of board, but we're going down in life total and making it so that the priest has other avenues.
Yeah, Drain Soul and Scavenger, both really good pickups right about now. A tap on the next turn will allow him to play out the Scavenger for 1. Oh, and there it is. He actually did draw Void Touch Attendant. This is so much damage.
Yeah, and this is maybe even the punish for Corden saying, "Hey, I'm gonna aggressively tap down here." Is now he's dealing against this Void Touch Attendant. I mean, he has a pretty good response with tap into Bloodshard Bristleback and Goldshire Knoll here, but he's going down, down, down.
Even tap hurts, right? Tap's dealing 3. It's just this is Sunday's putting on the pain with another Void Touched on the next turn. He could seal it out potentially. We'll see what he does. Yeah, it is going to be tapped into Knoll and Bristleback. Knoll should probably kill the 1/3, Bristleback the 5/6. This will put him back up to 9. Clear down Sunday's board a little, but it was a good push.
Yeah, if we see another Void Touch Attendant, though, that is lethal. Not to be seen. Yeah. Wait, hold on. We might actually see it's not quite to get a Void Touch Attendant off of the Raised Dead unless there's another piece of damage found, like the Wriggling. Nope, not.
Yeah, it doesn't find it.
Now the Raised Dead is quite nice to get back Bristleback and just sort of lock out this game, I think.
Yeah, especially with double Scavenger in the hand, this Raised Dead doesn't actually hurt him because of the quest reward as well, right? You can play all these cards. You can play Knoll, Bristleback, Scavenger, Flesh Giants come out this turn too. This board is huge.
Wow.
Disgusting swing from Corden. I almost don't even want to watch.
Sunday did not have any avenue.
Oh, this is just the most disgusting turn.
And yeah, Priest is kept off the board and killed next turn.
Yeah, oh my god, and Sunday's gonna concede just like that.
A quick 3-0 from Corden. Going to have a lot of time to be able to talk to him in this interview now.
Yeah, absolutely. Just well played through and through.
And welcome, Corden. Wow, what a sweep.
Thank you. Yeah. Warlock's a deck, man. I am in absolute love with that deck. So it honestly was coming down to the mirror, and it was close. I just thankfully got my quest off before Sunday there.
Yeah, and something that both I think Geranium and I noticed in these matches that you use your life total really aggressively in like all these matchups. The aggressive ones too. You're really focused on quest completion and getting those rewards done. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, I just find that if I have the quest completed, a lot of the time when you're doing it, you're either removing their board or you're doing something proactive. You're also just getting your quest closer. You're getting your flesh giants closer. So I'm a big fan of just removing their board. It can backfire. There's definitely times. Actually, I was just playing my legacy match before. I played way too loose with a mage, and they hit me for 20 over the top. So it's just the way it is sometimes. But that's definitely more my style of. I need that quest gone because it's a lot less thinking when I don't need to be like, okay, it's a race to the quest. Who's going to finish it first?
Speaking of backfiring, though, what did you think of the Altar of Fires?
They
from
threw
his
me
Warlock?
off. Yeah, I know it's out there. I just didn't expect it to be completely fair. Um, it didn't work, I guess. I mean, it worked, right? He did have a good turn. He did play the taunts down, so it worked in effect. But it just I had the answers there. It also progressed my stuff as well to allow me to answer. So my bristlebacks came down and was able to remove stuff a lot easier, and then my Baron scavengers were able to come down too. So maybe not in the mirror, because that's two cards that he wasn't running that I were. Whatever he eliminated from the deck. So maybe in matchups that aggro burning something off the top that could kill you, or maybe a combo piece or something like that. But in the mirror, I feel like Altar of Fire it really helped me because I don't really care what you burn out of my deck. Um, so because as long as you're burning it for me and I still have whatever cards I have in it, I think that's fine.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it put you down to 11 cards in the deck, put him down to 9.
Yeah.
Just meant both of you were right there. Now, one interesting thing though is in the sort of Warlock mirror, it isn't exactly a mirror if one of you runs D6. Were you thinking about sort of how favorable D6 is into the normal hand lock?
Yeah, I was kind of just saying if he's D6, then I might just lose this matchup. I don't really know if Sundee's, I guess, capabilities of playing D6. I know I can't play D6. I'm terrible at it. I tried. I asked my team if I should play it, and everyone with an unequivocal "do not play that deck." And I said, "No problem, guys." Everyone was saying handlock, which I'm like 21-10 with handlock right now on ladder. I got a lot of tenure in that. I'm going to be sad this week when they nerf whatever they do. But yeah, D6 really doesn't cross my mind. Maybe Sundee is somebody who could have, but into the lineup, I still had Priest as well, and I still had Druid, which both can bring an aggressive lineup, which you saw Sundee bring an aggro Druid and an aggro Priest. We were pretty much like, I would be surprised if his Shaman was in Quest, to be fair, which mine was. So it was very interesting to see. But I don't think in that matchup with the decks that could be aggro, I think that's the only way Steeler loses is you set them low enough where they just can't utilize that big swing turn.
Yeah, both styles of Warlock have so much lifesteal that setting them low isn't even a problem sometimes.
Yeah, no, exactly. Sometimes you set them to 4, they draw 4 shards, and then they touch a Nazareth something, and you're back to square one with they got 15, 16 health, and you did everything, and there's just no way to beat it. So it's always a worry, but I also think the deck can miss. It can be mismanaged, and then you can capitalize with a good aggro start, or even a good, an Atheron into a Flesh Giant or something like that. Sometimes they just can't deal with it, and you get to push, 16 to face.
Yeah, absolutely. And we saw the power of Anetheron in, I think it was your first game, right?
I don't think I actually played Anetheron the entire time. I might be incorrect. First game was
Against Druid.
Yeah, no, I definitely didn't play it because I had milled myself so much.
Yeah,
to
that's
Soul
true.
Rends. Yeah,
That was the double Soul Rend game.
Yeah, I was very happy to see that. But he also, it was such a difficult. It was a different build than what I've used to in Druid. I mean, not very different. It just had the peasants, which luckily I had an answer to right off the bat. And getting the double Soul Rend is I mean, I couldn't have asked for a better opening hand. I kept a lot of stuff because I expected it. If it was Anaconda Druid, I still think I was favored, but I definitely mulliganed towards an aggressive one.
Is that, I believe, what you had in your lineup as well, right? Was a more aggressive druid?
Yeah, exactly. I had more aggressive, the taunt style, so just trying to get on the board as fast as possible. And sometimes Warlock misses Soul Rend. I got very fortunate in the Priest mirror or the Priest matchup as well, that I was able to find a Soul Rend within the top, coin Soul Rend even. So I didn't have to take too much unnecessary damage. But I was very nervous in that Warlock Priest game. I don't know if you guys saw. Because I didn't know his Ganling version. I didn't know if he was running the Void Shard, which would have been lethal. But
Totally.
I was panicked when I saw him poke face and get the draw, and then he got the Thrive in Shadows, and I'm like, he's digging and he's gonna find it. And then I thought, oh, is it if he gets the Raise Dead, is it lethal with the Attendant? Which don't think it was. I think it was one off still.
It wasn't. It was really
Yeah.
close. If he'd top decked Attended, it would have been lethal. But if he had to dig for it by dealing damage in the first place, it wouldn't have been.
Yeah. So, and then I just that swing turn that I had. I don't think I've ever had a better swing turn from a Warlock ever. I literally can't. I think that was insane. That was just I was counting, I was holding my Raised Deads because I didn't really have a great Raised Dead pool. I only had the one Null, and then I finally got some Bristlebacks in there. It was just the turn where I decided, am I just gonna rip this backfire, set myself lower, possibly die, or get closer to actually being able to stay alive? So I'm glad I took that line.
And so there's so many different types of druids. Did you think that there was any merit in the other styles of druids, or the aggro druid has such success on ladder?
Yeah, Aggro Druid is very good right now. Anaconda Druid is always in the back of my mind because it can find good matchups into Warlocks as well. Just because if you just set Warlock to so if you just align a Warlock, they really can't do much. Especially it delays them actually playing Tamsin. I've done it where I've aligned a Warlock with Stealer of Souls on the board, and he just drew 1 mana stuff, and he never progressed his quest because he was just doing 1 damage to himself the whole time. He had to play 7 cards to do it. So, I haven't seen a lot of Miracle Druid. I think it has its niche, and I don't know how great it is it's probably best in closed. I just don't know if it's a deck that can really sweep for something like Hero. Legacy, you might be able to sneak a win in there with someone mulligans hard for aggro, and then you're able to hit your ramp and stuff. But I definitely think aggro is the best version right now, especially if you're going in with a Shaman ban. Quest Shaman typically rolls over Quest or Taunt Druid it's bad matchup. I get sad when I see it. And then there's always Quest Druid. I played one the other day, and sometimes they just hit you for 16 and you don't really know what happened.
Yeah, especially with all of the many multiple guffs we've seen. It actually have some success in the Masters Tour recently. Have you been paying attention to that?
I have. So my wife and son are actually away this weekend, so I've had a week of Hearthstone from Thursday to Sunday. So I've caught quite a bit of the Masters Tour there. Pretty much watched all Friday, and I watched about half the day today, and then I had to get some actual adult stuff done around the house.
Of course.
But it's interesting because you see the Masters Tour bringing decks like the Demon Hunter. Brute DH is, one of the most brought decks right now, and I think it's also one of the worst performing. And I haven't seen, even in THL right now, there's not a whole ton of Brute DH or even DH coming out. So, it's weird. It's a weird deck. I try to play it. I wasn't a fan of it. If you didn't hit the brutes, then you were kind of just sitting in the water with not much to do. I like a deck that, maybe it can high roll you, but can actually also do what it's supposed to do. So Fel DH is a deck that I really enjoy because it can high roll you, but it can also just kill you with some cool Jace lethals or something like that.
Yeah, with the Lions Frenzy DH, I would definitely be lying if I said I liked that deck.
There was actually I don't know if you guys saw it on the Masters Tour last night. I think there was like a 28 damage Lions Frenzy lethal though.
That's insane. That's criminal. Like I sit there and when they have a Lion's Frenzy and they have Kurtrus done and they like glide their hand, I'm
Yeah,
sitting
it
there
was-
going, no way. Like, and it keeps counting and they keep playing cards for no mana, and I'm like, there's no way, dude.
It's
And
like
then they pop.
glide, soul fragments.
Yeah.
That's the only way to get it done.
That's insane. It's just crazy that I'm interested in the soul fragment. I was thinking that as we play Warlock, is that so maybe one of you guys can explain it to me because I don't really get it. So when a Warlock is actually play and a soul fragment is drawn, it counts towards the stealer. It doesn't skip that card for healing. But if you were to skull and draw a card, you don't get the discount on that card. Is it because it's considering the soul gem a card?
So
I think it is, and I think it's because it never enters your hand. It doesn't get discounted.
If you're asking why the stealer doesn't sort of or still works through the little drawing the gems, is mainly because it's a cast when drawn, which then draws another card, and the stealer doesn't
Right.
interact with specific cards that get drawn. It interacts with
Oh.
every card that gets drawn. So I'm
Right.
sure that the soul gems themselves are also quote unquote getting when you cast them, they hurt you. But like it's not. They then cast for 0, so it doesn't actually change it.
Right. Yeah. It's always been something I haven't liked, and maybe somebody smarter who's listening can explain it to me later. But I just, if Skull draws 3 cards and the first card is a gem, the second technical card or the first real card misses the discount. Yet, as if a stealer does it, there's no harm, no foul. I just feel like if that first card is a soul gem, the second card should miss the health benefit. But I guess technically you're drawing it. So shouldn't that mean the skull should be it? I don't know. These are the questions I have, but this is not the time for that.
Exactly. In fact, it is time though for your team to be up 8-0. How are you feeling going into these final 3 matches, knowing that you are so far ahead?
Spoiler alert, I know how they all end. I believe
Yeah.
in Hero. You might. I think
if you
the guys
refresh,
have
it's there.
refreshed. Yeah.
Oh, well,
Yeah, I feel good. It was just Yellow Dart and Risen who hadn't played. They played this afternoon around 4 p.m. Eastern time. So maybe they just had a little bit of delay getting their stuff in there. But I was aware of their scores, so I didn't feel a whole bunch of pressure. So maybe that's why I just kind of was a little bit more laid back this time around, and not so. I guess was the last time heavy breathing. So this time it was a little bit easier to do.
yeah. In fact, a sort of mulligan to the question here. You now are more firmly in the lead. We see you guys were very close to the top there, and then now with this huge point week, gaining 21 points, it puts you pretty far ahead of Diamond.
Yeah, with that last game with Roofski and Duocat, we'll have to see. Maybe they can pull a few points there. But it's a great week. We had a really good week, a really shaky start, and then we had a great week last week, and this week again is a great week. So I think we found our stride. I think the first couple weeks of THL have been a bit shaky for everybody. If people found their strides early, then that was amazing. I started off shaky, got swept, and then I'm bouncing back, getting used to it. So it's really good to see it settle down a bit. I say that, and then we're gonna see nerfs next week.
More shakeups, yeah. Well, it looks like we are about to go into our next match.
Awesome.
I don't know if Mojo Pal, you have any other further questions here. We have a little bit more time.
No, I'm all good. Congratulations to you. Is there anything you want to shout out, Corden, before you head on out?
Just thank guys for casting. I'm gonna go back and watch the VOD. I always like to see what you guys have as the omnipresent caster. You can definitely see the lines and things like that. So it's great to hear other people's perspective on turns that you've taken that might have led to a different way. And yeah, thanks for casting. Thanks for having me on. And I'll be in chat watching. Is it Donde? Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
Donde Jammies, teammates and legacy fighting in Hero. Man, that'll be a great one.
Wow, you're already setting up the stakes.
Hey, all I want to see is Donde get swept. Is that too much to ask?
Oh, we all want to.
All right, as long as we're all on the same page.
Yeah, come on.
Awesome, guys. Well, thanks again. I do have to get going. Have a great night, and yeah, thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Bye.
And now, as I said, we're going to go into this next match. Donde versus Jammies. Corden was setting up teammates in Legacy, opponents in the 2 seed in Hero. One of the last matches for Bowler Jams 03 versus anyone playing Maestra.
Yeah, and this is a game, a match that matters a lot for this week, as Bolner Jams is up 2 points so far, I believe, leading the series 10-8 over anyone playing Maestro, but it's very close.
Yeah, a win here from Donde would basically lock it in for Bowler Jams 03 for the week. Whereas anyone playing Maestro winning would keep the dream alive and certainly make it so it's down to the 1 seeds, Venus Pomoni versus Ron Mexico, to actually see who would win. The classes, though, are being in Demon Hunter, Priest, Shaman, Warlock from Donde, almost the same from Jammies, the Priest being switched out for a Druid, so it's Demon Hunter, Druid, Shaman, Warlock.
Yeah, it's exciting to get to see these demon hunters, right? As we were just talking about with Corden, we don't know what type they'll be, and this is a really exciting thing, hopefully, that we'll get to see. I believe we have the bans as well.
Yeah, it's going to be Jammies banning Priest, maybe some Scourge of Seasons Past, and Donde banning Shaman, sort of the more popular ban as we've seen today.
Yeah, but Donde's Shaman has been left up, which may be the first Shaman that we get to see on this stream.
Absolutely, yeah. It's very interesting for me seeing neither Shaman nor Warlock getting banned, since those are sort of the 2 powerhouses that every single person is basically bringing.
Yeah, Priest is an interesting pick. I'm not sure matchup-wise why that was the choice, or maybe if it's just a sort of personal preference thing.
Yeah, it might be that Jammies is seeing that super aggressive Priest and just thinking to himself that, he's bringing more of a control lineup. Maybe you will not be seeing an aggressive Druid here, but more of a one of the later game ones to combat the sort of late game Shaman that we might see from Donde.
Yeah, absolutely. It'll be interesting, and whether they have brutes or fell spells or death rattle minions or all 3 in these demon hunters, I think will do a lot for the matchup spread.
It looks like the players are going to be getting into it now. Donde on bottom, Jammies on top. And already starting Warlock versus Warlock. Just really going to see who gets that first, gets the mirror match win. Will really get a big advantage. Warlock into the Shaman of Donde is going to be quite advantageous for Jammies.
Yeah, and either player ending up after this matchup being left off without their Warlock could be a huge disadvantage, actually. As we see, Backfire in both players' hands, clearly very good players on stream right now.
Oh yeah, we saw 2 backfires in Judo Chop's hand, the game that he won with Warlock. We saw the backfires in Sunday's hand when he faced Corden, but now we see it as more of an even playing field.
Yeah, I got to imagine there will be a quest on 1, tap on 2, backfire on 3 from potentially both these players. But the big difference might be that Donde is a flesh giant.
Well, another big difference is Donde is running Spice Bread Baker, which is a very big anti-aggro tool, but this is not an aggro deck. This is a fellow control control Warlock from Jammies.
Yeah, not going to turn up huge in this matchup, but if it is a taunt druid, right? If it is like the shaman's banned, but if it is a more aggressive DH build too, the Spicebread Baker could put in the work at a decently good card no matter what. So we'll see how it turns out. I'm imagining this is a tap here, but actually get a coin back 5.
Probably just looking ahead, seeing like, oh, okay, because of the coin in my hand, if I hero power this turn, backfire next turn, I'm going to have to play the coin anyways. So instead, probably just choosing to reduce number of cards in hand, make it easier to tap next turn.
Yeah, smart. And doing it this way gives you more options on your next turn in case something better than tapping and tour guiding happens to come up, but I doubt that it will.
Meanwhile, from Jammies, I mean, hey, you saw your opponent play a backfire. I don't have many arguments against playing a backfire of your own.
Now seems like a pretty good card. Start matching on that quest completion, right? This is what you want to be doing. Up to 5 out of 6 here. And look at that. Both players with golden Spicebread Bakers.
Yeah, both of them with Flesh Giants in hand, both of them with golden Spicebread Bakers. They have clearly been doing their due diligence, getting through their daily rewards, getting the battle pass, moving on.
Yes, we'll get to see Jammies play from here. Could go with like Goldshire Knoll, trade Life Tap. Killing off the tour guide this early on is pretty good. It'll upset Donde's Raise Dead pool by quite a bit, and only committing a Goldshire Knoll, right? That's a great card for Raise Dead.
Oh yeah, with Raise Deads in both players' hands, definitely the tour guide is going to pollute Donde's, whereas it looks like Jammies is looking to also join in the fun here. Maybe going to see a Mortal Coil alongside, just really turbo through that deck as fast as possible.
Yeah, I don't mind this. This is actually sort of just as good a play. You can still play the Knoll if you want, and Mortal Coil. You can do it in kind of whatever order you want. Or we can not commit the Knoll this turn. It's sort of up to Jammies. I think he's deliberating a little.
Yeah, looks like Jammies is really putting the thinker on and making sure that he's making the correct play every single turn. I appreciate the sort of correctness that he's trying to bring. As you know, he knows that Donde has the skill as his teammate.
Oh, Donde has a really anti-aggressive list here. That's a Hysteria teched in as well.
It's very interesting that he's running. That he's still running things like Tour Guide in addition to all these different anti-aggro tools, just because usually one of the earlier things to go is that Tour Guide. But if this is not the end of the crazy text that Donde is bringing, I will be surprised.
Yeah, we'll have to see what else is here, and we'll have to see what gets cut in order to run a Hysteria, right? I have to imagine that it makes you a little worse in matchups like this. We'll see what Donde wants to do here. Could commit a Soul Rend since you have 2 in hand, but it's not the best.
Yeah, it does get you a bit closer to getting some of your stuff online, but neither player is really all that close in the first place.
Yeah, quest completion, not very far along. Both players just at the start of phase 2. This was the other play that I saw. Unstable Shadow Blast will progress the quest a little bit, alongside a second tour guide coming out from Donde.
Yeah, I mean, Donde is not going to let his Raise Dead pool be all that great for him. We'll see if Jammies ends up even committing much to his Raise Dead pool. Sometimes in these matchups, the Raise Dead pool is one of the deciding factors, but looks like he's just going to go for 1 Knoll.
1 Knoll's not bad, and playing Raise Dead here does help with your Flesh Giant. Flesh Giant is very close to being played, especially Touch of the Nathrezim, tapping, things like that are options this turn. We'll see what Jammies goes with.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, just it's such a value-centric matchup that getting only 1 minion, one sort of medium-sized minion, is Doesn't feel that great. Oh, and super aggressive too. I
Wow.
do like the aggressiveness a little bit.
Yeah, it's this is what Corridon would have done.
Yeah.
I think what we'll call this play. But it does complete phase 2 of the quest. Significantly before Donde will even have a chance to, right? Because Donde doesn't have anything in hand that'll complete it this turn, and gets a Flesh Giant down. This seems like a crazy good line from Jammies.
Yeah, and now, I mean, there's not much that Donde can do to contest. We don't see the Battle Master quite yet from Jammy's side, but Donde has that in the back of his mind. If Jammies has the Battle Master in hand, that's just lethal.
Yeah, it absolutely is. It's got to be a thought for Donde. Can't actually clear the giant. Could look to just heal a lot. Spicebread Baker, Touch of the Nathrazim, things like that. That'll put the Flesh Giant down. You could even go Baker, Touch, Raise Dead, and just play the Flesh Giant. Which I wouldn't hate to see. Mirrored Flesh Giants is not a terrible thing to do. So we'll see what he ends up on here. Definitely going with the Spicebread Baker on a full hand. That's as powerful it's going to get. Healing for 9. Donde debating the touch.
Yeah, hitting the opponent's minion is good. I personally would not like to see the Raise Dead even to get the Giant out, just because you're just getting two tour guides. When if you wait one more turn, you can remove this Giant by playing your own Giant for almost free, or free if you tap, and then your Raise Dead most likely gets a Giant as well.
There's a chance at some really good Hysteria value here.
Yeah, it's actually almost a guaranteed full clear if the Hysteria gets played right now on the Flesh Giant.
Yeah, and honestly, the thing about it is you're not even upset if it just hits an Etheron. Like, you know what? Cool. You killed their 2 biggest minions. Like, it's guaranteed to clear those 2 at least, so I'd like to see it personally.
All the pressure would be off. Speaking of the pressure being off, Jammies is not really letting the pressure stay off, because he is almost going to complete the quest and play the quest reward next turn. Not necessarily going to play the quest reward next turn, but just right there.
That's so sick. I'm debating the no tap from Donde here. You can always just tap into the Flesh Giant, and it does the same thing, but you progress your quest, get another card.
Yeah, get closer to your Bristlebacks being online.
Yeah. Seemed like maybe the right play, but the Flesh Giant down nonetheless. Jammies may just ignore it for the time being. Look to complete the quest.
Yeah, I mean, if we play Spicebread Baker here alongside this Backfire, then we're going back up to 20. Well, not quite 27, but going all the way back up where this Flesh Giant is not going to threaten us with a Battle Master.
You could even, now that Touch of the Nathrazim has been drawn, you could ignore the Spicebread Baker and play, Bloodshard, Bristleback, Touch of the Nathrazim, and your own Flesh Giant.
Yeah, pressure right back onto Donde.
Touch of the Nathrazim was such a good draw. This is a huge health swing, card swing, board swing, almost at quest completion. This is just huge. Could actually just complete the quest, but opts not to.
And once again, I mean, Donde has to start thinking about, does Jammies have the Battle Master for lethal?
Yeah, it's always got to be on your mind. Even Soul Rend is not a clear here because it won't quite take Donde down to 10 cards.
And this is where we saw not tapping last turn starts to come into effect. Is Donde's seeing one fewer card from his deck. He's also one card further away from activating these Bristlebacks.
Yeah, you can go like, I believe Tamsin, Soul Rend would be a board clear, but doesn't feel great.
Oh, it might actually be the play right now.
Yeah, the unfortunate thing here is that Donde has just completed the second phase of the quest, whereas Jammies is so close to the third, right? He's just so far behind.
Yeah, and Jammies is going to complete. And then start finding, once again, the other avenue of dealing damage to Donde here. It's looking like Jammies is in the driver's seat.
Yeah, he absolutely is. This Raised Dead also now has another Flesh Giant in the pool, right?
Yeah.
And it
It's,
wouldn't burn. It wouldn't burn the quest reward to just play Raised Dead.
Yeah, I was also thinking the same thing. Me being a caster here, I don't have the large brain to remember sometimes if it's actually going to get milled.
I just had to count.
Yeah. But luckily, though, it is just enough. He'll fill right up to 10 cards if he plays that Raised Dead by getting the 2 minions and then getting the quest reward.
Yeah, thinking about it, seems like the right play to make is going to do it. Oh, and those are pretty disgusting minions to get back. A Netheron can be played right here for 1 mana.
Wow.
Play up the Blightborn Tamsin as well. This is a huge turn.
I'm not entirely sure whether the Bloodborne Tamsin will get played here, actually, just because we're not clearing off their Flesh Giant.
Yeah.
Oh, never mind. Instead, choosing to use removal.
Yeah, that's true. There was a world in which you just played a Netheron and not Blightborn Tamsin, right? A Netheron and like a second Bloodshard Bristleback or something like that, but Blightborn Tamsin works as well.
And now here's where we see Donde being 8 health away from completing the quest. He has all the lifesteal in his hand to be able to sort of combat the pressure that Jammies is going to put on, but for how long? How long is this lifesteal going to actually serve him?
Exactly. Like, Donde's a couple turns away from losing with all this lifesteal, but he's also so far away from actually winning. He has nothing really proactive and game winning to do here, whereas every turn Jammies is going to be putting more and more pressure on.
Yeah, playing a ton of big minions every single turn. Dealing damage to Donde by damaging himself, it's just not going to ever stop.
Yeah, I'm having some spectate issues at the moment, but
okay. Well, Donde just decided to absolutely play out his entire threat line, both Scavengers plus the Flesh Giant, and now it's up to Jammies to counter clear here. But with an unstable Shadow Blast draw, it is looking like a few pieces of removal and just cleaning up most of the threats here. No Soul Rend from Jammies' side. In fact, haven't seen a Soul Rend drawn at all yet, so could see a tap into that to really get rid of Donde's board.
yeah, you do have to respect the pressure that Donde's put on. This is a very wide board, and obviously with no Soul Rend seen, it's a little scary for Jammies. Bloodshard Bristlebacks were pretty good at picking it apart. But
yeah,
we'll see. Could opt to try and tap and look for the Soul Rend. Doesn't really need it.
Okay, instead choosing to use Tamsin Roam alongside the Unstable Shadow Blast to just absolutely clear the board. Alongside, of course, Bristlebacks, alongside the Scavengers. He's not feeling threatened.
Yeah. I like this line. I think it's just a really strong way of dealing with the board. Obviously developing your own, getting the Scavenger out. There's no threat of lethal from Donde, and he's still so far away from that quest. Got nothing to do to really push it any further. And it's looking like Jammies is just going to run away with this.
Yeah, unless Donde can really put on with Raised Dead. Actually, I was just going to say another layer of just big stuff to deal with.
This card needs to be pretty big.
Yeah, we won't see 2 Flesh Giants gotten from it because one Flesh Giant still hasn't died here, but clearing off basically all of Jammies' board and then developing some counter threats. Really just needs to happen from Donde here.
Yeah. You don't want to trade with the Flesh Giant. You could to get a full clear. It'll be interesting to see what Donde does, but maybe leading with the Bloodshard Bristleback into the Raised Dead. You definitely want to Raised Dead before trading the Tour Guide.
Okay, well, deciding that wants just a little bit higher chance to get that tour guide back. Maybe he's feeling a little bit lonely without it.
That's true. And tour guide is, powerful taps will start to become a win condition, but actually just going to hold off on the Raise Dead entirely.
Okay. Possibly deciding, hasn't seen a Soul Rend from the opponent, doesn't need to commit right now. We still see no Soul Rend from Jammies. Might be just bottom 5 here.
Yeah, the bottom 2 cards could well be Soul Rend. And I think the other argument for not Raise Deading is waiting on the second Flesh Giant to die for a larger board swing could be something that's in Donde's head. Obviously, there is an answer to this Flesh Giant in Jamie's hand if he wants it. But I saw him hovering over the Anetheron earlier as well, maybe looking to just develop a bit of a board of his own.
Yeah, Jamie's just has plenty of options. Probably going to see Bristleback plus the Drain Soul clear off this Flesh Giant, completely remove Donde's threats. That Donde has the second Raise Dead to develop them right back.
Yeah, Jamie's going to play as much mana and as many cards as he can this turn. Anetheron will probably not get discounted.
And we
Actually,
still
cannot get discounted.
I am absolutely confused by Donde's deck. There's also still a Battlemaster in it. Battlemaster is another one of the cards that sometimes gets cut to play some of these more anti-aggro tools.
Yeah, I'm trying to look at the list and figure out what the cuts have actually been. Cult Neophyte, probably.
Yeah, Cult Neophyte is definitely not very standard, and is the tech that Jammies chose to run. I do not like this Soul Rend. The Soul Rend completely removes the rest of Donde's deck. I mean, sure, it puts you into sort of your quest completing range, but then it makes all of your threats go away. I mean, I don't know what's left in Donde's deck, but it's probably not worth it.
Yeah. He should have 1 Goldshire Knoll left, but he's out of Bristlebacks, he's out of Scavengers, he's out of Flesh Giants.
Even just getting the backfire, like if you get the backfire, that makes you complete the killing of your opponent after playing Quest Rewards so fast.
Yeah, and oh my god, this Raised Dead was so good for Donde. Flesh Giant Baron Scavenger, kind of exactly what we wanted, and this could be actually a relevant board push into Jammies, who still hasn't seen a Soul Rend and finally hits it.
Okay, well, I mean, with the Soul Rend pickup, that is going to be the end of Donde's little bit of board here.
Oh, it's double Soul Rend.
Double Soul Rend. I mean, we can trade 2 of the 3/3s into the 6/6, trade the 3/2 into his 8/8. And just about kill everything with 1 Soul Rend. Don't need the second, but you certainly try.
And that is probably the better play. You can also develop Anetheron if you'd like, but I wouldn't mind double Soul Rends.
It's using to just say, nope, the entire board is gone. I don't have to think about this.
Okay,
I don't have to.
You should definitely attack one time with Blood Shard Bristleback first. Like, let's just be clear about this.
Yeah, not only should he have attacked with Bloodshard Bristleback, he did miss 4 damage face by not trading in and killing the taunt and then going face afterwards, but
he's flexing.
Yeah. And that backfire is, once again, insanely important for Donde. Now, all the cards in his deck are gone.
Oh, and this is actually huge. The fact that Anetheron and Battlegrounds Battlemaster are still left for Jammies, he can play Anetheron, or for Donde, I'm sorry, he can play it this turn with Battlemaster on the next turn, and this is a lot more damage.
Yeah, Jammies develops an Anetheron of his own, but now the Spice Bread Breaker is just a 3/2, has no battle cry, essentially.
Yeah, and Soul Rend Mortal Coil, or Drain Soul, or even like Goldshire Knoll, Mortal Coil, clear off this Anetheron, right? Yeah, Goldshire Knoll into hit
this
Mortal Coil. You can Drain Soul your own Anetheron. This is just a lot of damage for Donde.
I think that Jammies got a little bit too cocky there. Just thinking to himself, hey, I can double Soul Rend and there won't be any bad consequence, but this is it. You can't clear the Anethron, and even just a tap from Donde would kill it.
Yeah, and what a comeback in the end. Donde with the late quest completion with less Flesh Giant pressure, right? But finds a Netheron in the very end of the game to just seal the deal in game 1.
Yeah, I don't know exactly what threats were left in Jammy's deck, but just getting rid of all of them in one fell swoop just means that there is no chance to sort of combat. And now we have to see what is Jammy's going to bring to possibly combat against one of the most powerful decks in the metagame.
Yeah, Jammy's has a couple of options here. Obviously, there is both the Demon Hunter and the Druid available to be queued, as we will see.
We heard from Corden earlier that sort of a Celestial Alignment Druid seemed to have done wonders for him, but no, we see the Demon Hunter.
And it is Fell Demon Hunter with no quest, so this is going to be a Jace and Fury Fell Barrage type of a win condition for Jammies. This is an exciting deck to watch.
We can still see some Skull discounting on the Il'gynoth as well. That is still quite a threat in Fell DH if they're forced to play their Jace a little bit early. But Backfire from Donde is certainly going to counteract, and the Brute from Jammies. We talked earlier about about Brute and DH.
That's interesting, actually. It's a really, I feel like Brute is not the kind of card you're typically running in just a Fell DH with no quest. It's interesting. We'll see how he actually gets it out on the board.
Yeah, it's definitely good to note just how complicated some of these Fell DH turns can be. Just making sure you get the cards to draw in the right way, making sure you don't overdraw as much as possible, and keeping everything discounted. Right now, it's seeming pretty calm, but sooner rather than later, we're going to see a storm, a flurry of draws, and see if James can keep up.
Yeah, we absolutely will. And with double Moargs in the opening hand with stuff like Chaos Leech, this deck is actually capable of doing some things reminiscent of OTK Demon Hunter, especially with Il'gynoth. Has a lot more sticking power now at 8 health, right? So we'll see what James can get done with a lot of bursts like this. Skull of Gul'dan in a bit of an unfortunate location, but Sigil of Alacrity is a good card.
Yeah, this time Skull of Gul'dan might just read discount your Brute by 3 instead of discount the rest of your cards by 3. We'll have to see if it ever gets played.
Yeah, there's a chance it is just 6 mana draw 3, especially with Moargs kind of locking it in on the other side. It's a bit of an awkward minion to play, the Moarg Artificer, especially into the Warlock that loves to see Moargs for healing. Warlock decks in the past have just run Moarg Artificer. So we will see Donde complete the first phase of the quest on this turn, as well as play out a 2-mana 5/4. So decent turn.
Yeah, it's one of the benefits of not playing the Backfire is that you just 3 hero powers complete the first stage of the quest, and now Backfire plus 2 hero powers would complete the second.
Yeah, it totally will. But Donde actually sort of needs Jammies to do exactly what he's doing and start playing some minions in order to get things like Drain Soul, Touch of the Nathrazim out of the hand so that he can Backfire.
Yeah, already we see the Jace in hand from Jammies. Definitely not going to be the play until much later on in the game. Once maybe we see some Furies played, we see the Fell Barrages, even the Immolation Auras. Instead, we're just waiting.
And it's an awkward start, like you said, for Jammies, right? Moarg's a little bit dead. Chaos Leech with a second Chaos Leech, not doing a lot, right? Jace, Brute, and Skull all sort of locked in the middle of the hand and unplayable. It's a little unfortunate for Jammies. Not really being proactive, not getting a lot done other than passing the turn. And the Warlock's drawing cards and progressing a quest this whole time.
Yeah, this turn we might just see Chaos Leech, Hero Power, Attack Face, Pass. And then meanwhile, this Warlock is going to fire right back with draw card, almost complete quest, maybe even play a large minion alongside it and keep pressure.
Yeah, the more time this game takes, right, the more amount of free taps that Donde gets to put out, the more advantageous a position he's going to be in. And it's sort of for this reason that I question the Ironbound Brute's inclusion in this deck. It doesn't seem like Jammies even runs that much card draw that we've seen. We've seen a lot of removal, to be fair. It's not great draws, but it's hard to see this Brute ever getting much beneath where it is right now.
Yeah, from Donde's side, there is a little bit of an unfortunate turn, as in, oh no, he's playing a 6/6 taunt instead of actually progressing through his quest and everything. Whereas finally, Jammies is able to maybe play his 6/7 taunt.
Yeah, I think it's Brute time. I think that 6 mana 6/7s are better than 6 mana 6/6s. None of these cards were supposed to be played for 6 mana, but well. Could also like Chaos Leech and Hero Power, but nope, does opt for the first Ironbound Brute.
No, it's definitely time to start actually doing anything for Jammies. Meanwhile, from Donde, I mean, yeah, we can start working on polluting our raised Deadpool, I guess, with this tour guide, but might just be another scavenger pass, essentially.
Yeah, which doesn't feel very good. Well, it's scavenger touch pass. It's probably fine. Yeah, has played a card, can taps into a Goldshire Knoll, which is powerful. You could do that and the tour guide this turn.
Great top check for sure.
Second only to probably an Etheron or Flesh Giant.
Well, Flesh Giant is almost definitely not playable right now, but Goldshire Knoll certainly is. And it's another thing that we're going to have to see Jammies deal with. And I guess, hey, that Fel Barrage does deal with it. A Hero Power on the 1/1, and then Fel Barrage would just kill it right there. Instead, choosing Immolation Aura, which is interesting. No.
Immolation Aura is one that I think I'd rather see Jammies save. It's sort of the Quest Mage issue, right? Sometimes you're out of targets for your spells, but Immolation Aura does not need a target. It can just be played out of your hand for hand size issues or just for Jace, to make Jace a little stronger. So I wouldn't mind keeping the Immolation Aura. I'd rather see something with a Chaos Leech.
Yeah, I think maybe what Jammies was thinking is Immolation Aura and then the Fury allows him to kill off the Goldshire Knoll and still play his Firebound Brute. Really just seeing this Brute. I mean, hey, 6 mana, 6/7, it's an Ogre. And I know a lot of people love Ogres, so.
Sure. All you Ogre enthusiasts out there should be including Firebound Brute in your description of Ogre. Is going to Hero Power down the tour guide. We'll see how he deals with this committing a Fel Barrage. An interesting line. I would have probably rather seen a Chaos Leech on the Goldshire Knoll just because Fel Barrage is so much more flexible. But Jamie's clearly saving this Chaos Leech for something.
And here, so I heard some talk about how the nerf to Flesh Giant makes it so that, it usually lines up. You have the Flesh Giant cost 0 at the end of the second tier of completion. And we still haven't completed second tier, and hey, this Flesh Giant is coming up for 0. It is, these nerfs are more adjustments. They're definitely adjustments as we talked.
Yeah, nerfs have been only helpful so far in what we've seen today. Flesh Giant vaguely impacted Il'gynoth whenever it's drawn. Will be a little stronger. Kolkar Pack Runner, as we saw earlier with 4 health. So Jokes aside, Jamie has a bit of a difficult board to deal with. What are we thinking here?
I mean, I'm kind of thinking about the Immolation Aura and this Chaos Leech, but it doesn't quite actually answer everything we would like to. So possibly just going to start with a Felgorger.
Yeah. Can always commit a Moarg as well.
Yeah, we can. With the Moarg, we can still actually kill things now with this Chaos Leech. Maybe instead choosing to Immolation Aura kill his own Moarg, but
yes.
clear the board.
Yeah, Immolation Aura clears the board completely. The Chaos Leech heals for 10, so puts him all the way back up, casting more Fel spells this turn too. So I don't mind it.
Seeing Donde sitting back and relaxing right now. Maybe gonna see him commit this Raise Dead. There was a tour guide in this pool, but a lot of other really, really great stuff to see from there.
Yeah, I think you kind of have to raise it. You can tap first two. It puts you down to 10 cards in the deck. Second Raise Dead is found, actually. It's very funny. You have to play something before playing any Raise Deads, but I would still like to see a Raise Dead, right? There's Goldshire Knolls, Flesh Giants, Barons, Scavengers, all of which are at their most powerful right now. So I think that Raise Dead's absolutely the option.
Yeah. I actually wasn't very opposed to just getting rid of Soul Rend. It's not going to be very helpful in this matchup. But instead opting to play out the Spicebird Baker with a little bit more commitment.
Could Raise Dead again. Yeah, I kind of want to see it. You can play another Scavenger if you get one, or a Flesh Giant. Oh, gets them both! You can play them both!
Whoa.
That's so strong. Playing out both these minions right now obviously just sets up lethal, especially with the Battlegrounds Battlemaster. Yeah, it doesn't even commit the Scavenger, you don't need it. But also playing this right now, right? You can just next turn draw a 9th card, play a Scavenger, tap Blightborn Tamsin.
Finally, from Jammies, we see the Skull of Gul'dan. It was a long time coming, and now.
Just play the other one anyway. Like, I don't know. Oh, I think he's thinking about Moarg Jace.
Yeah. It would definitely be better to play the one, the most recently drawn Skull, just because it then becomes the same problem as the original Skull, where it's trapped behind a bunch of different stuff.
Yeah.
Instead, deciding, hey, we need to remove this board as fast as possible.
And Moarg with Chaos Leech, Moarg with Jace Darkweaver into Chaos Leech does do the trick, but now Jace is gone. Both your Moargs are gone. It's going to be difficult from Jammies to put together a game plan that actually wins the game from here.
Yeah, I mean, Il'gynoth is a tempo minion now, maybe. This is, it's not great, for sure. Ironbound Brutes are going to have to put in a lot of work, which is unfortunate. And your Felscream Blast can really only do, I believe, 15 now, with the double +2 spell damage.
Yeah, and you're going to need those. And plus, you need some of that to get discounted for that to even work, right? With Il'gynoth costing 6. I guess if you keep the coin, you can do that, but it's a little tricky for Jammies here. Yeah, it's going to get this far right side Skull of Gul'dan out of here. Discounts an Il'gynoth, which is powerful. Fury, also a powerful option. This is not bad.
Ooh, Kurtrus Ashfallen isn't terrible, but it isn't enough for sure. I think probably just an I-Beam to clear off this 6/3. Develop your Ironbound Brute.
Yeah, I'd like to see the I-Beam as well. It does just as much, if not more, than Kurtrus does. Well, just actually more than Kurtrus does on board, yeah. And Ironbound Brute, well, Ironbound Brute's such an awkward trade with Tamsin, though.
It heals you for 7.
True.
Yeah, it's just maybe in order of whether he's going to play the Airbound Brute, coin I-Beam, or hold the I-Beam even for the Il'gynoth here.
Yeah, interesting. Does choose to hold it. I like Donde looking at maybe you could Blood Shard Bristle back the Brute and then Unstable Shadow Blast it to deal 5. Start really pushing for lethal in the next 2 turns.
Yeah, it's looking pretty soon, honestly. I mean, hey, with the Battlegrounds Battlemaster in hand, it's almost lethal this turn. It's just 1 mana off. But certainly with double Backfire in hand, it is actually Jammies is not long for this world, as even if this did not finish off the game right now.
Oh, it does. Yeah.
We would have the burns from the Backfire getting into fatigue. But no, ending.
Yeah. Absolutely. I didn't see it. I hadn't counted for the hero power damage, but Donde takes a second win now, leads Jammies with very little options left. It's going to be forced onto the Druid.
On the Druid, yeah. And if he didn't bring out the Druid against this Warlock first, it's maybe not so favored.
Yeah, might not be the matchup he's looking for. Fangbound Guff is a skin I have literally never seen before in my life.
Well, we can see as many abs as we get buff with Guff here. And we're going to need to against double Flesh Giant.
Yeah, 2 Flesh Giants in the opener is pretty nice. Very clearly not an aggressive Druid from Jammies. And those Cthulhu pieces are telling me that, Gadgets and Auctioneer and Celestial Alignment are both in this deck.
Feral Rage also only a miracle card usually. We're going to try and not mill this Anacondra off of the Fungal Fortunes. Try and not mill the other key Gadgets and Auctioneers and things like that. And really just try and stuff this Warlock with a Celestial Alignment as soon as possible.
Yeah, Jammies with an interesting decision here on turn 1. Sow the Soil, Pounce. None of these options are great. None of them are bad. I like Pounce because it's fun with Gadgetson.
Absolutely. I mean, it's not a nature spell, so it's actually going to cost 1 once we sort of get into the Gadgetzan turn. But whoa!
No!
That is...
Oh my god.
Okay, well, I mean, we have another Fungal Fortunes, so we just need to instead ramp and then really do our Miracle turn once we play the Celestial Alignment.
That was sad. That made me sad, like physically. We're seeing a lot of Cthulhu pieces. We do see the Overgrowth now picked up for Jammies too, so there is still absolutely a game plan, absolutely a path to victory, even without the Lady Anacondra herself. But it will be a little bit more of a challenge.
Yeah, it's going to be looking kind of tempting to do this Overgrowth right into the Celestial Alignment as soon as possible. Sure, Donde is going to be able to play a Netheron plus Flesh Giant on the same turn, but yeah, he's just going to play on the same turn, and we're going to have to deal with that.
Yeah, just a really strong minion that Jammies won't have many answers to. Can play, Celestial Alignment out this turn if he would like, but it's not looking phenomenal. Gadgetzan now in hand as well. Has to play something. 10 cards in hand. Could go for just a Cthulhu piece or just Celestial Alignment. Not seeing many other options.
Could clear board with Pounce, Lightning Bloom, Lunar Eclipse, Celestial Alignment, Hero Power down the Netheron.
Wow.
Which is not great since you're then going to be overloaded going into your first Celestial Alignment turn. And especially not great because then your opponent's going to play 2 Flesh Giants. Well, might be what Jamie's looking at, though, considering he doesn't see what Donde has in hand.
Yeah, it seems inevitable that we're gonna see both of these Flesh Giants coming down this turn. That is 2-0 mana Flesh Giants right next to one another. Donde will just, if he's feeling very spicy, will maybe thank you into double Flesh Giant. But really not what you want to see if your Jammies here. Very difficult to clear off all 3 of these minions, assuming that Donde plays them.
Yeah, Jamie's fans are certainly not happy right now with that. I mean, hey, you can play Lunar Eclipse. If another top deck Lunar Eclipse can clear off both a Nephron and one of the Flesh Giants,
True.
It's just Nature Studies also discounts. Instead, choosing this to be the turn to go off and really hopefully get through the entire deck.
Yeah, gonna start obviously with the Nature Studies. Would have liked to find something other than that there, but does get a Lightning Bloom. Getting back to 2 mana, a Nourish as well.
To gain mana crystals, good.
Yeah, up to 3 mana now. Maw of Cthulhu, one of the more powerful options here. Cenarian Ward in hand too. This is turning out pretty well for Jammies.
And with the Heart of Cthulhu draw, now we actually can clear the Nephron. Very, very good. And still have our Cenarian Wards as backups.
Yeah, Cenarian Ward. You could even play Best in Shell or something. Try to protect a little from the Flesh Giant. We'll see what the last choice is here. Looking at Best in Shell, Eye of Cthulhu, Cenarian Ward. But Jammies has a plan.
Yeah, the other Celestial Alignment draw is very key here. Once we play all these Cthulhu pieces, which we have one of the 2 Cthulhu pieces we need to play right now. Once we get that last Cthulhu piece played, we're playing the Celestial Alignment as soon as possible to get the Cthulhu discounted down to 1 and draw it, hopefully.
Yeah, it's really sort of the key here for Jammies is now going to be finding the rest of these pieces as quick as he can. Donde is on no raise deads right now, which means that once this giant dies, Donde's actually kind of out of threats, and he's committed so much towards this, and it's going to be so hard to complete the quest since Celestial Alignment has been played. Donde might actually find himself on a bit of the back foot here, finally.
Well, I mean, speaking of being out of threats, though, we do see that Jammies is going to be overloaded for 4 next turn, which means he can't do anything. So Donde is sort of choosing. I mean, hey, plus a touch here over 2 turns can kill off one of the turtles, and then we can send this 8 face.
Yeah, and I like the Baker here. A lot of value, healing up. Strong options for Donde on the next turn, and that's going to be Turtle Trade and pass for a very sad Jammies.
I know all costings there, not to be outdone by this giant here. Probably, I mean, hey, we've been Donde to be quite aggressive in the past. Probably going to be unable Shadow Blast to complete the next section of the quest here. I had to guess.
Yeah, gotta get going on this quest somehow. Backfire is another option for a Gold Shard. No, will almost definitely be seen. Oh, Battlegrounds, Battle Master.
Wow! That's it.
Is that just...
That's sweet.
Oh my god, yeah, with the quest completion. That's lethal. Gold Shard, no, Battlegrounds, Battlemaster. Oh my god, and Donde picks up a surprise lethal off the Backfire for a 3-0 Warlock sweep.
Wow, and that is it just instantly decided by that first Warlock game. And Bowler Jams 0-3 with a 0-3, making Donde 3-0 and giving them the win for the week.
Yeah, absolutely. Bolner Gems will take the win for the week. Donde goes up to the big 3-0 with our second Warlock sweep of the night. Just the MVP class as we get Donde in here for an interview, hopefully.
Wow, Donde. That was a sweep and a half.
Hey, everybody.
Welcome, welcome. So, were you looking forward to playing any of your other decks?
I did some extensive practice with one of the other decks before this match, and so I was a little hesitant on that, but I do feel good on the Warlock, and kind of just decided that I was going to either start with Warlock or Shaman, whichever he didn't ban, and then when he didn't ban either of them, I was very confused. And I felt like I liked Warlock more, and since it's my baby, I let it rip.
Yeah, that was some interesting text there from the Warlock. Any insights onto the Hysterias even?
Yeah, Hysteria is real good in the mirror in case they do happen to double giant you or a Netheron giant, something like that. So obviously you saw that I was able to get a lucky board clear there by hitting the Knoll first, which was definitely great for me. But yeah, hard to believe it was a good thing for me, but it was. But yeah, that's mainly what it's there for. It's also really good against brutes. I know it doesn't necessarily clear the brutes, but it's an option to get them down to like 1 or 2 health, and then you have so many other mop-up spells that you can usually get rid of a board, at least most of it, so that you're not in immediate death range.
So in that very first game was sort of the one where you were sort of most backed up against the wall. You feeling like you were going to win that game the whole time?
It definitely was sketchy. It was the most sketchy of the three by far, and I felt like I had kind of lost the race to Fatigue at that point. He had completed his quest so much faster than I did that it really wasn't a situation where I felt like I could race him in that regard. So I kind of just said, all right, I need to stick something to the board, and the Netheron there at the end was very, very good. But I think with that deck, you're never really truly out of it because Fatigue doesn't exist for you. So I didn't feel like it was over, but I felt like I was behind, at least in the mid game.
Yeah, and in the other 2 games, however, like much more commanding starts and victories. Were you expecting the Celestial Alignment Druid from Jamie's, or maybe another type?
I only kind of thought that it was a possibility just because I know that's a deck he likes to play, just being Legacy teammates. I mean, we didn't discuss lineups at all this week to avoid any information given to the other player, and that's understandable. But yeah, I know that he likes to play. I know he's good at Druid as well, so I kind of expected Druid in the lineup, period. And I've never once heard him talk about aggro Druid, so I didn't necessarily believe it would be that. But I mean, hey, he could easily have thrown a curveball at me, though. Like, my entire lineup was favored against aggro Druid. So especially once he banned the Priest, I was like, there's no way it's that. It's either an Anaconda straight up or a Miracle Druid. Once I saw Cthulhu, obviously you understand what the deal is, but I knew that it was Anaconda, and that was such a good burn for me with Fungal Fortunes too.
Yeah, absolutely. Being that you guys are on the same team, as you just mentioned, though, is any of this match going to sort of impact the metaphorical locker room of your team?
I don't think so. Jamie's is a real good sport about everything, and I feel like I am as well. So it's a lot of just jabs back and forth at one another. I had a lot of fun with it this week, and you know who you can talk a little trash with, and I think Jamie's and I both know that we're up for that. So yeah, no, there is no question that this is not going to affect the locker room. I mean, I might get some snide comments. I already got some comments about Giants being in my opening hand, which, I mean, that's where I want them to be. I don't know how you play Warlock, but that's where they deserve to be, and that's probably something I'll hear about in the coming weeks, I'm sure.
So, being that it was a priest ban from you, if your Warlock fell to his Warlock, what was your game plan then going to be?
I was probably going to just be Shaman at that point. I mean, I think either of the decks would have been fine to play in that matchup, but I have a little bit more. I mean, like by fine to play, I mean like the numbers are about equal. They're both not great against Warlock, but I have a little bit more experience on the Shaman than I've had on the DH, so that would probably have been where I went next.
Is it a similar Fell DH list that you were running to Jamie's, or is it a different kind?
I don't know if it's 30 for 30, but it was close. No, wait, I didn't have brutes. I wasn't running the brutes. So it was more of like an Il'gynoth finisher.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But a lot of
and
the other cards are the
Unseen,
same.
Yeah,
Sorry.
yeah. It seems you guys were running the same sort of core ideas we saw in his hand as well. And it's just, the sort of tech options. He was running Cult Neophytes in his Warlock. You were running Hysterias.
Yeah, I think that's the nice thing about Warlock is it's pretty flexible. Like there's the core idea behind, especially with the delete version, so to speak, and not the 6D. There's like 25, 26 cards, and then you kind of have a little freedom there at the end to tech it how you want against what you see in your opponent's lineup.
And speaking of text, though, you don't get to show us the text, but were there any spicy texts that you were maybe hoping to show off?
I
you don't have to
think
tell us
so.
what they are. Just if you were thinking of it. Okay.
There was
Yes
there
or
was
no
a
question.
there was a spicy tech that I wanted that Ron Mexico absolutely shut down. So that I
Wow.
don't know if that counts, but I guess hoping to show it off insofar as hoping he would let me bring it.
Unfortunate.
But he was like, "No, this is bad. Don't do this. This is bad." And I was like, "You know what? You're a smart guy. So I'll listen to you."
And also, I mean, you guys just locked up the week here. You winning 3-0 here means that Boulder Gems 0-3 14-8 on the week versus anyone playing Maestro. How do you feel about Boulder 0-3 in Hero in total?
Yeah, it feels good to lock up the week for sure. Definitely like the start that we're on. Much better than the start our team was on last season, and it feels good to have kind of a handle on the meta. And now we don't have the pressure for the rest of the week. The remaining guys can kind of not. I don't want to say, just kind of goof off, but maybe they take a route that is a little less. Less assured, just to get a little bit of practice, and it's not such a bad thing at this point with the W in hand. But I expect them to win.
Of course. Any further questions for our man Donde?
No, I don't think so. Don't do you have any shout outs you want to make before we wrap up here?
Sure. Definitely want to shout out Jamie. He's obviously great guy, great teammate, and great opponent. I definitely outdrew him in some of those games, especially that last one, Celestial with 2 giants in hand. Yay. I want to shout out Mojo for casting whenever I win, apparently. So you need to do that more.
Yeah, absolutely. I think this is just how it should work.
Yeah, obligations for you. So I'm definitely requesting you as my personal caster, kind of like when I'm a pitcher and I get a catcher that is just mine. He only plays on the one day that I pitch. So that's you. You're my caster. You can't cast for anybody else. Other than that, thank you, Dranium and Wild, for casting as well. This is always fun to be on stream with you guys, and I love the cams. It's nice to have a little bit of that extra kind of look into what the players. I don't see what Jammies was thinking, but I assume it was, why are there so many giants on this board all the time?
Yeah, it's been an absolute delight casting tonight, and I personally have been focusing more on the game than on the player cams, but seeing the reactions from a lot of these players is absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, I think it's been a huge upgrade to the stream so far this season, and a thank you to all of our players and you, Donde, especially for going on the cams, for accepting this change.
For sure. And of course, I'd like to say Rip Carlbot, repping the Rip Carlbot shirt. You could buy it yourself at the store, which is down below. So definitely get on that. You just got to the point in the stream where I'm getting lethal in the last game, so that's pretty fantastic. Got distracted. Sorry. Yes, promo. Go to the shop. Buy the Carlbot shirt. He did not live long. It was like a month and a half. 2020 to 2020. It was hard on everybody, including bots.
Yeah, and also, while we're at it, I mean, hey, you don't even have to scroll down to the shop. You could just scroll a little bit less and find the subscribe button right below the Twitch stream. Purple. You can change that purple to a bit of gray here by doing that subscribe for free if you have Twitch Prime, and just helps us out. Anyways, thank you very much, Donde, for sweeping and for coming on for this interview. And yeah, I'm going to have a great night. Hope you have a great night too.
Thank you. It will definitely be a good night.
All right. Thanks, guys. Yeah, I guess I can close things up. It's been a long? One of those matches was pretty short, but but it's been good. Definitely some interesting mirror matches, the Warlock ones, but yeah, 3 matches in the books for Heroes, so that was kind of fun. Just a couple things, I guess, to close down the show. We do have some afternoon matches tomorrow. Kodomura and Saku's back on, or Mumkid and Trido will be on. So we'll have some matches tomorrow afternoon, I think at 4 o'clock Eastern. And then, as usual, we also have Sunday Showdown. Geranium will be facing off tomorrow night. What time is that? 8 o'clock?
Yeah, should be 8 p.m.
Yeah, and then followed by some Battlegrounds. Thanks, everyone. I would definitely want to thank the participants, the players, and, of course, our wonderful casters, Geranium and Mojopal, for keeping the energy up through all 3 games. Thanks, everyone. Have a great night.
Always. Thank you.
Great night.
I hear you got a problem. Another round?